150 resident animals from the shelter who need a loving home. Plus, we'll be featuring pictures and information about the animals on our website each week. It's WBVP and WNBA's Pick of the Litter each Monday and Friday from 9 a.m. to noon. Brought to you each week by the 19th Hole in Chippewa, Albertine Air Conditioning in Conway, Canine Kingdom in Vanport, attorney Michael W. Nally in Aliquippa, Laura's Living Pet Sitting and Walking Services, Junax Auto Repair in Aliquippa, and Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
WBVP, WMBA.
Beaver County Radio. Here on this wet, chilly Tuesday, April morning here in Beaver County, and we are 1230 WBVP in Beaver Falls and North Swickley Township, 1460 WMBA Ambridge, and Frankfort Springs.
I'm Rich Thomason. It's looking like Wall Street could open a bit higher this morning, recovering at least part of what it lost in yesterday's big sell-off. Stock futures are up this morning. Yesterday, the Dow closed down more than 2%, and I should say the NASDAQ was down more than 2%. The Dow shed 459 points, and that was a 2% loss. Fears of a trade war with China sparking that sell-off. Automakers applauding the EPA's decision to ease emission standards for new cars and trucks. The industry says the Obama rules would have cost automakers billions while raising vehicle prices. An EPA review concludes that a timeline that was put in place by President Obama was not appropriate and set the efficiency standards too high. Public school teachers in Oklahoma not done with their rally for higher pay and education funding. Many public schools will be closed again today as the educators remain out of the classroom. Public school teachers in Kentucky rallied yesterday as well. They're mad because lawmakers recently passed a pension overhaul, cutting benefits for new teachers. Large swath of the country could be in for nasty weather later on. National Weather Service forecaster Bob Oravec talking severe thunderstorms along a strong cold front that stretches across a wide area.
Looks like the moment the greatest threat is going to be from the Houston area, northeastward towards Little Rock, Memphis, just to the east of St. Louis, up towards Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and as far northeast possibly as Cleveland.
Things could get dicey with strong winds and large hail, possibly even some tornadoes from late this afternoon on into this evening. And looking at the Wall Street futures, Dow futures up 97 points, NASDAQ futures ahead 38, and S&P futures currently up by 13 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The Bitcoin bubble has popped, but the fact is, the underlying technology behind Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is the most revolutionary breakthrough since the internet. Do you remember what happened after the internet bubble? Yeah, now it's a multi-trillion-dollar per year industry. This will be no different. And because this bubble has already popped, this is the time to buy low. Investment bankers and wealthy investors are just starting to take this thing seriously, and you should too. A long-term investment in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, or Ripple could turbocharge your portfolio and change your life. Call Noble Bitcoin to get your free guide to investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies with your IRA and 401k. Just call 800-687-5405 and leave your email on the 24/7 voicemail to get Noble Bitcoin's free guide to investing in Bitcoin with your IRA and 401k. Call 800-687-5405. Leave your name and email on the voicemail and we'll send your report right away. That's 800-687-5405.
Travel on France's rail network has been severely disrupted as a wave of strikes against labor reforms gets underway.
In some places, commuters recount nightmarish journeys on one of the rare trains still running. Elsewhere, there's a strange calm and empty platforms, suggesting that many passengers, forewarned of the strike, have made alternative arrangements. President Macron senses that this is the first major test of his reform agenda, and he'll need to play the coming weeks extremely carefully. For now, public opinion seems broadly to be on his side, but as the strike bites, tempers are going to fray and pressure is going to build.
That's a BBC's Hugh Schofield in Paris. The Russian military says 1,100 Syrian rebels and their family members have evacuated from a stronghold in the Damascus suburbs over the past 24 hours. The town of Douma was one of the earliest hubs of the uprising against President Bashar Assad. News and analysis at townhall.com. Federal investigators looking into the cause of yesterday's deadly collision between two planes in northeastern Indiana.
We learned the victims were both volunteer firefighters in Pipe Creek Township, Indiana, both 31 years old. They were in a small Cessna 150 trying to take off from Marion Municipal Airport in Indiana. Their plane clipped a Cessna Citation jet that was coming into the airport to land. The smaller plane crashed and burst into flames, killing both men inside. All 5 people on the larger plane escaped injury. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Travelers at the world's busiest airport in Atlantic can once again use free Wi-Fi to go online following a cyber attack that hit the city last month. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport sending out a tweet the other day saying that its free Wi-Fi is up and running once again and thanking travelers for their patience. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Beaver County's radio news source, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Here's Pat Septak.
And good morning. We are up a degree from last hour, currently at 39 degrees in Beaver County on this Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. The Beaver County weather forecast calling for periods of rain today, thunderstorms possible, and a high of 63 degrees. Topping our news this hour, Center Township has received a rejection letter from PennDOT delaying a certain road project in the area. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano explains.
Center Township received a rejection letter from PennDOT. It was announced at last night's meeting. A road project that won't be done until next spring in Center Township hit a snag when PennDOT sent the township a letter. Modifications for the multimodal grant will be sent to PennDOT. Ned Mitrovich, Township engineer, said that the state received 22 applications for the $5 million grant. U-Haul has to apply for a conditional use hearing before they proceed at the site of the former Macy's, which they purchased last year. Planning Director Frank Vecchio said, "We don't know what the uses will be." Solicitor Nicholas Urick was instructed to contact U-Haul in Pittsburgh. This is Sandy Giordano reporting for WBBP WMBA Beaver County.
A Midland couple is facing a number of charges for allowing a juvenile to live in their home in horrible conditions. According to police, 62-year-old Robert McDowell and 52-year-old Anna Holben were charged with endangering the welfare of a child, corruption of minors, and simple assault. Police were called to the residence in connection with a couple fighting. When officers went inside the home, they found it in deplorable condition. Bond for both was set at $5,000. A man hit by a car Sunday in Lawrence County is in the hospital with serious injuries this morning. According to Union Township Police, the man was walking in the road when he was hit by a car. Police say the man was making his way home from work. The accident happened just after 11 p.m. on Route 224. Police say no one will be cited. And court officials say distracted driving citations in Pennsylvania jumped by 52% last year and have increased 172% since 2013. Nearly 7 in 10 citations were issued to men, and more than a third were to people in their 20s. A 2012 state law lets police pull over motorists that they suspect of texting while driving. State law prohibits texting while driving, subjecting violators to a fine of $50. It's also illegal to drive while wearing headphones. In sports, Colin Moran hit a first-inning grand slam in his debut at PNC Park. Jameson Taillon tied a career high with 9 strikeouts, and the Pirates held on for a 5-4 victory over the Minnesota Twins in their home opener on Monday. The Buccos still undefeated. They are now 4-0. Matt Durzik has highlights from the game coming up in sports in about 6 minutes.
Here's the Beaver County forecast from 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Periods of rain throughout the day. Thunderstorms possible today with a high of 63. Tonight, more thunderstorms likely, overnight low of 43. And then for Wednesday, showers in the morning, then continued cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour, a high near 50 on Wednesday. Currently it is 39 degrees in Beaver County.
Here's what's going on in your town. A look at the Community Bulletin Board on WBVP and WMBA.
And from the community calendar, self-defense class is being held Saturday, April 28th through June 16th from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. This is at the Beaver County YMCA, and your instructor will be the master himself, Mr. Ed Hermick, 5th degree black belt, and this is for those 18 years and older. Members $40, non-members $80. That's at the Beaver County YMCA beginning April 28th. And that is a look at the news. Our next full report coming up at the bottom of the hour at 8:30. I'm Pat Septak for Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA News.
That's why whenever I do remotes with them, that's why I get most of the work, because I know not to mess with them.
That's right.
It's like, hey, can you do this for me? Okay.
Yeah, you don't mess with it.
I see you in that stance.
That's right.
Just kidding, Adam. You're out there. I love working with you. So. All right, Pat.
Okay. Yeah.
Bargain Shop Tuesday.
It is another Tuesday here in Beaver County, and that means at 1:45 today, Diane Brocious will take the reins and let you bid on some of these items we have in today's bargain shop.
Y'all ready for this?
A $20 gift card to Crave Mexican Grill on 431 3rd Street in Beaver. The bidding will start at $10 for that. A $25 gift card to Hallowed Grounds, 1106 3rd Avenue, New Brighton. The bidding will start at $13. A $20 gift card to Which Flavor, 588 3rd Street in Beaver. The bidding starts at $10. And dinner for two at Texas Roadhouse on Wagner Road in Monaca. It's valued up to $30. The bidding will start at $15. So if you got a little bit of hunger in your heart, stay tuned for the bargain shop today at 1:45 following Yankee Trader here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. There are two sides of things, and if we can't compromise on these things, we are not going to go anywhere as a country. Thank you for not catching on that the first time. No, listen, now that's your fault for not catching on. I'll put this one on you. We are Fox News. We are CNN. We are MSNBC. Bow to us. It is so irresponsible.
Live and locally operated, this is Matt Durzik in the Morning.
(724-843-1888) and 724-774-1888. Those are the numbers to call in this morning if there's anything that is on your mind this morning. And it is coming up on 8:13 here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. It is time for the Tuesday morning edition of the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Manufacturing slowing slightly in March. An EPA ethics official clearing Administrator Scott Pruitt. Maine summer tourist season threatened by the loss of airline service. Those stories next.
Hi, this is Jack from Banyan Hill. You might have heard about the $34.6 billion that's expected to be doled out in what we call freedom checks. Huge checks that are changing people's lives from coast to coast. People like Sean from Pittsburgh. In fact, he's on the phone right now. Sean, you there?
Yes, I am, Jack.
Sean, let me ask you, how do you like getting these massive checks in your mailbox every month?
Well, Jack, we used to put stuff on credit cards living paycheck to paycheck. But now, after we started collecting a specific kind of freedom check, I have to say, life's a lot more fun.
I bet it is. In fact, getting massive freedom checks is fun no matter who you are. And with $34.6 billion expected to be paid out in private, non-government money starting as early as May 1st, now's the time to stake your claim on some cash. To get all the details, go to www.freedomchecks126.com before the May 1st deadline. That's www.freedomchecks126.com.
Manufacturing expanded in March, but at a slower pace. The Institute for Supply Management Index fell slightly last month, declines in new orders and production, but some companies have raised their steel and aluminum purchases. Despite media headlines apparently trying to gin up controversy, an ethics official at the EPA says a condo lease signed by EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt didn't violate federal rules and are within fair market values in Washington, D.C. Pinair, a small airline that formerly served Bar Harbor, Maine, no longer offering flights this summer. Maine officials worried the New England town may suffer during the summer tourism season as a result. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
This is a test of the emergency alert system originating from WBVP. The broadcasters and cable operators of your area, in voluntary cooperation with the Federal Communications Commission and other agencies, have developed this system to keep you informed in the event of an emergency. This is only a test. If this had been an actual emergency, you would have been given emergency information or instructions. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system. In sports, the Pirates are still undefeated. They are one of two teams left in the majors to do so at 4-0. And with more details on yesterday's victory, we turn to Greg Brown.
The Bucks defeat the Minnesota Twins 5-4 at PNC Park, the home opener, and the Pirates have started the 2018 season 4-0. A 5-run first inning against Lance Lynn held up. Gregory Polanco, the second batter of the game for the Pirates, doubled home Josh Harrison. Pirates would load the bases with 2 outs, and Colin Moran, the new Pirates left-handed hitting third baseman, launched his second home run in the big leagues. The stretch, the pitch. Swinging a high drive to right field. It is grand salami time! Colin Moran, the new bucko, just hit a grand slam. Welcome to Pittsburgh and PNC Park over the Clemente wall. Granny time for Colin Moran, don't you know? First grand slam and his first home at bat as the new bucko third baseman, and the Pirates took a 5-0 lead. Jameson Taillon pitching very well through 5 innings. Got the first out of the 6th, gave up a home run to second baseman Brian Dozier in that 6th inning, and after Joe Mauer singled off of him, Clint Hurdle lifted him in favor of Edgar Santana, who gave up a couple of runs. Josh Smoker gave up an RBI double. Dovydas Neverauskas, the Lithuanian right-hander, pitched 1 1/3 scoreless innings of relief. Michael Felice, a scoreless 8th and a 1-2-3 ninth for George Kontos, who earned the first save of the season and second of his career. 5-4, Pirates win it. Home opener at PNC Park. Bucks are 4-0. Greg Brown on your home for Pirates baseball.
Another Major League action from yesterday. It was Houston with a 6-1 victory over Baltimore. The Cardinals defeat Milwaukee by a score of 8-4. It was Cincinnati 1, Chicago 0. Detroit beats Kansas City by a score of 6-1. It was Toronto 4, the White Sox 2. Boston with a 7-3 victory over Miami. The Dodgers lose to Arizona in 15 innings, 8-7. It was Washington 8, Atlanta 1. The Indians with a 6-0 victory over the Angels. Oakland beats Texas 3-1, and Colorado over San Diego 7-4. Bucks have the day off. These teams don't. Tampa Bay takes on the Yankees. The Giants host Seattle. Kansas City is at Detroit. Miami hosts Boston. The Cubs are in Cincinnati. The White Sox are in Toronto. The Brewers host St. Louis. The Phillies take on the Mets. Atlanta hosts Washington. The Dodgers play Arizona. The Angels host Cleveland. Baltimore is at Houston. The Rangers are in Oakland. And the Rockies are in San Diego. The Philadelphia Wildcats are NCAA men's champions for the second time in 3 years after beating Michigan last night by a score of 79-62. Dante DiVincenzo with 31 points for the victorious Wildcats and Coach Jay Wright. In professional basketball from last night, the teams had the night off. But tonight, most of the teams are back in action as Miami hosts Atlanta, Orlando's at New York, the Cavaliers host Toronto, the Nets are in Philadelphia, the Rockets host Washington, the Warriors are taking on the Thunder, the Bucks host Boston, the Pacers are in Denver, the Mavericks host Portland, the Suns host Sacramento, the Lakers are in Utah, and the Clippers host the Spurs. On the ice last night, in NHL action, it was the Florida Panthers defeating Carolina by a score of 3-2. Toronto with a 5-2 victory over Buffalo. The Jets beat the Senators by a score of 6-5. It was Minnesota 3, Edmonton 0. The Capitals beat St. Louis by a score of 4-2, and the Kings beat Colorado by a score of 3-1. Tonight, Detroit is at Columbus. The Islanders host Philadelphia. The Rangers are in New Jersey. Winnipeg's at Montreal. Florida hosts Nashville. Boston is at Tampa Bay. Vegas is at Vancouver. Calgary hosts Arizona. And Dallas is at San Jose. And that is sports for now. Periods of rain today. Thunderstorms possible and a high of 63 degrees. More thunderstorms likely tonight with a low of 43. Showers in the morning on Wednesday, then continued cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour and a high near 50 degrees. Rain currently in the forecast with a temperature of 39 degrees. Matt Derzick in the morning with you here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
By now, you've probably heard about the Center at the Mall in Monaca, but did you know that it is managed by the Lutheran Service Society? The Lutheran Service Society's mission is to empower our seniors to lead independent, dignified, and secure lives. Center at the Mall's popularity has grown over the past years to include 10,000 members, which makes it the largest adult community center in Beaver County and averages 5,700 visits a month. The center, located inside the Beaver Valley Mall, provides a social atmosphere where members can enjoy a fitness center, nutritional lunches, a Wi-Fi cafe, an open computer lab, group excursions, a home-delivered meal program, holiday celebrations, plus information and referral to senior services and a wide variety of social opportunities. If you're an adult 50 and older who wants to have fun, stay healthy, and be active, there's no better place than Center at the Mall in Monaca. Stop in or call them for more information. Center at the Mall, proudly managed by the Lutheran Service Society.
The back-to-back Stanley Cup champions are on Beaver County Radio.
Kessel getting the puck to Malkin. Back to Kessel in front of Malkin. Hey! Shoots and scores! Evgeny Malkin finishes it. Oh, give me back my old Cadillac.
Follow the Penguins all season long with local coverage presented by Rochester Manor and Villa, Roberts Roadside Inn, St. Barnabas Beaver Meadows Apart from the Ordinary, Suman Automotive, and Beaver County Radio, WBVP, and WMBA.
Matt Derzick.
Pat Septak.
The lane you're in is like half shoulder, half lane.
Now you know what I go through.
Yes, I do.
Beaver County Radio.
724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888 are the numbers. If you'd like to call in this morning about anything we've talked about, and that includes strawberries, marijuana, the irresponsibility of journalism when it comes to teenagers and the young people, and the Pirates. We've talked about them as well. And another report that's come out, and I'm sure that this is what a lot of people are, drooling over in the corridors of the major news networks, this prospect that Vladimir Putin might be coming to America. And no, not to remake the great Eddie Murphy movie, just coming to America to talk to President Trump. Although I would like to see it coming to America with Vladimir Putin just as a proxy. Because I think that script is so good that, it'd be hard to mess up. Just him walking into the barbershop, Is Vladimir Putin playing all the barbers too? I don't know. Whatever. The point is that the AP reports that the Trump administration says it is amenable to a White House meeting between President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, raising the prospect of the Russian president's first Washington visit in more than a decade, even as relations between the two powers have eroded. So apparently this is going to be one of those, hey, can we stop the fighting and just talk about this sessions? Like, hey, I know we've gone through a little bit of bad blood, but, I think we just talked it over, be really nice, sort of nice meeting. And the funny part about it to me is, and again, this is just entertainment because federal politics, for the most part, should not be taken seriously. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders saying that the White House was, quote, among a number of potential venues. A number of potential venues. So to me, as a sports fan, I'm thinking, okay, where are the other venues? It's going to be, the Verizon Center. Is going to be Constitution Hall. Is it going to be, the Spectrum? Could you imagine that? A bunch of fans getting in the Spectrum, the old Spectrum in Philadelphia. Of course, it's not standing anymore, but it would be funny. I just got to chuckle out of that little line there. But I don't think that this necessarily is going to be I don't think this would be a bad thing. I'll go as far as saying I don't think it would be a thing that is relatively monumental in America unless the people did something about it, which they haven't yet. They're probably not going to, aside from protest. But, a guy comes over here and talks to the president, Could be over here in the White House, could be over at the Kremlin. Yeah, I never know. You never know, but... apparently this is, coming off of an icy stand between these two. There was a call between the two, and the U.S. and many EU nations pulling out the diplomats in solidarity with Britain over the poisoning of Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia. And Moscow still denies that they were in the nerve attack. And they themselves have brought back their diplomats. So it's a matter of, hey, if you're not going to be diplomatic with us, we're not going to be diplomatic with you. And this definitely seems like President Putin handing out an olive branch to Donald Trump. Or at least extending one to the point of, hey, why don't we get this done and over with? Why don't we? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I really don't. I know a lot of people saying, oh, well, the Russians shouldn't be interfering with American whatever, and, it's a shame that this is going on. It's like, two guys want to talk to each other. That's that's one thing. And I don't think that should be that big. They're already calling each other on the phone, so, as with most human beings, the next step would be to meet each other in person. It's like, hey, so you don't sound anything like you did on the phone. It's just a conversation. Now, a lot of people say, well, Russia's still our enemy. Well, it depends. It depends on what you consider the enemy. Because here's the thing. If you think that, Russia's our enemy because of the federal politics going on in that country, America's really not that far off. Really. It's not. It's not that far off. We got a guy who loves to be in charge and a bunch of people who support him. I mean, the only difference is the numbers. About half the people in this country, like Donald Trump, whereas about 75%, according to the last election, like Vladimir Putin. Now, is that election rigged? I don't know. Was it going to matter? Probably not. But see, I think the problem is, people just look at, Russia in that same old view of, oh, the commie reds. The Russians are the commie reds. Okay, so they're communists, yes, but most of those people, I mean, are they communist from a we hate the rest of the world standpoint or from an economical standpoint? Because if it's just from an economical standpoint, then you'd be like, oh, okay, then, well, we just believe in this amount of things going on, and that's it, But it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, death of the rest of the world. There's so few people. I think there are less people like that in the world than a lot of people think. Like for every 25 people in these, communist or terroristic nations, maybe 1 out of 25 people are that crazy. But that means there's, dozens, hundreds of people who aren't that crazy. The problem is, with the technology that we have created for ourselves through nuclear warfare, military warfare, and the such, those crazies have to be looked at a little more, and that's why they get the largest audience, which goes back to my first point of the show, which is to say that just because a large audience is seeing one person do it doesn't mean that a lot of people are doing it. But people are scared. People are frightened. They're thinking, oh, no, clearly someone over there must be doing it. Who knows if all of them are doing it? What if there's more? What if there's not? You ever thought about that one? Well, there's not. There's not a bunch of bombers. Maybe it's just one crazed bomber that, has 2 or 3 friends that are also crazy bombers. Are they dangerous? Yes. Should they be stopped? Yes. Might it take a military to stop them? Yes. But does it mean the entire country is doing it? No. Logic. 724-843-1888. 724-774-1880 are the numbers if there's anything that is on your mind this morning here on AM Beaver County.
Beaver County's radio news source, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Here's Pat Septak.
Well, good morning. 39 degrees in Beaver County on this Tuesday, April 3rd. 2018. The Beaver County weather forecast calling for periods of rain today, thunderstorms possible, and a high of 63 degrees. I'll have that complete Beaver County weather forecast for you coming up right after this look at news. A Midland couple facing a number of charges for allowing a juvenile to live in their home in horrible conditions. Now, according to police, 62-year-old Robert McDowell and 52-year-old Anna Hoban were charged with endangering the welfare of a child, corruption of minors, and simple assault. Police were called to the residence in connection with a couple fighting. When officers went inside the home, they found it in deplorable condition. Bond for both was set at $5,000. Women's rights attorney Gloria Allred has agreed to represent 3 women who lost eggs when an Ohio fertility clinic storage tank malfunctioned. Allred said at a news conference in Cleveland on Monday that her clients are cancer survivors who delayed chemotherapy to undergo fertility treatments at the clinic run by university hospitals. She says mistreatment of women is wrong anytime, but especially in such an intimate and personal part of life. The clinic said last week that an alarm system was turned off on a storage tank that malfunctioned in early March and ruined more than 4,000 eggs and embryos. Several lawsuits have been filed against university hospitals. President Donald Trump appears intent on ensuring immigration issues remain at the forefront of public conversation. Trump is pushing for new legislation and accuses Democrats of allowing open borders, drugs, and crime. The president also is calling on the Senate to change roles to make it easier for legislation to pass. The Trump administration says it is amenable to a White House meeting between President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders says the White House was among a number of potential venues discussed in Trump's telephone call last month with Putin. However, much has happened since Trump and Putin spoke in the March 20th phone call, and both sides say they haven't started preparations for such a visit. a big caravan of Central American migrants that has stirred up concerns in the U.S., including drawing tweets from President Donald Trump, has halted its march for arrest at a sports field in southern Mexico. The U.S. leader warned about caravans of migrants heading to the U.S., and others questioned whether the caravan of approximately 1,100 people was moving across Mexico toward its northern border with the intent of crossing into the United States. Sacramento's first black police chief is struggling to find the right balance of reforms after his officers fatally shot an unarmed African-American man. Chief Daniel Hahn is an unlikely officer growing up in a tough neighborhood of California's capital city and having his own early run-ins with police. He tells the Associated Press that the city could rethink its policy on pursuing suspects after Stephon Clark's death, but he warns every change brings consequences. And Medicare is sending out new identification cards that no longer display enrollees' Social Security numbers. Andrea Sayers explains in this report.
Pennsylvania residents will be among the first to receive the new cards that assign each person a randomly generated 11-digit number. Joanne Grossi, president of AARP Pennsylvania, points out that Social Security numbers are the keys for access to personal financial records, medical information, and legal documents. So if a card with a Social Security number on it was ever lost or stolen, the enrollee could easily fall victim to identity theft.
Every time you're giving over that personal Social Security number, it's an opportunity for either an individual or a hacker to use it for opening credit cards or getting a loan.
She says once the new card arrives, the old card should be destroyed. But if you're on a Medicare Advantage or a Part D prescription plan, those are separate, so be sure to keep those cards. I'm Andrea Sears reporting.
And an argument over religion led to a 7-hour standoff on Easter Sunday. According to a criminal complaint, Anton Drew and another man got into a verbal argument Sunday at an apartment on West Hills Drive in Hemphill Township. Drew moved into the apartment a few weeks ago with his girlfriend. Her relatives from Virginia were visiting for the Easter holiday. Late Sunday night, police say Drew got into an argument with her mother's fiancé. Investigators say the argument over religion got out of hand. Drew pointed the gun, started waving it. The man managed to get out of the apartment, called police. After 7 hours, Drew was taken into custody and is being held on a $100,000 bond. Police say the argument was over whose religion was better.
Here's the Beaver County forecast from 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Periods of rain throughout the day. Thunderstorms possible today, high of 63. Tonight, more thunderstorms likely, overnight low of 43. And for Wednesday, showers in the morning, then continued cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour, a high near 50. And in sports, Colin Moran hit a first-inning grand slam in his debut at PNC Park. Jameson Tyone tied a career high with 9 strikeouts. Pirates held on for a 5-4 victory over the Minnesota Twins in their home opener on Monday, and the undefeated Buccos are now 4-0. Matt Durzik has highlights from the game coming up in sports in about 10 minutes. Currently, our temperature at 39 degrees in Beaver County. And that's a look at the news. Our next report coming up at the top of the hour, beginning at 9:05. I'm Pat Septak for Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMVA News.
I gotta say, Pat.
Yes.
I always find it funny whenever, they talk about these religious, you mentioned that there was this religious argument that turned to a standoff.
Yes.
And someone used a gun.
Yes, someone pulled a gun and started waving it.
And I'm just thinking to myself, listen, it doesn't matter whether you believe in Jesus, Buddha, Shiva, whatever. I'm pretty sure they're not okay with a gun thing.
No. I don't think so at all.
It's just let's think about this for a second. It's just like, well, I believe in my religion so strong. I'm a firm believer in the words of Jesus that I'm going to point this gun. It's like, and then you just see someone flips like, actually, according to the rule book here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, come on.
I know. Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense. Most, well-known religions. I don't know any religion that calls for people to resort to violence and bring out guns, No. Now, there's misinterpretation of religions.
Oh, Pat. We only have show that's 2.5 hours long. We can't get into that.
I know. We don't want to get into that.
I mean, it's like, how has religion been misinterpreted? Well, let's see.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's that's probably one of the more grosser misinterpretations of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it reminds these people. I mean, because here's the thing: to me, anyone who uses man-made artillery to defend their religion is not religious. They are an extremist, crazy person who wants to kill people.
Yeah.
I mean. Because here's the thing, people always talk about, all the Islamists, they blow themselves up for the sake of Allah. Well, okay, the crazy ones do,
Yeah.
I mean, that assuming that everyone in Islam, blows himself up for the sake of Allah is like assuming that every NFL fan is willing to take off their shirts for the cold games in December. No, they don't.
Yeah.
That's not true. You cannot prove that to be true, and I will bet you $1,000 that that's the case.
Yeah.
Not you, but just whoever wants to challenge me on that.
No, it boggles my mind that people who will defend their religion at any cost and wants other people to believe the same thing as they do, and if they don't, then they're going to resort to violence.
Right.
And they're going to punish you
Yeah.
for not believing the same way as they.
It's like, where is it saying this?
Yeah, it's like, what verse is that?
Yeah, just flip through the pages. It's like, oh, wait, no, it's not here at all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist, although the Buddhists, I'll tell you what, if you ever see a Buddhist with a gun, then I think that will make the point more clear than anybody else. It's like,
yeah.
We got a stray here.
Yeah.
We got a problem.
Right, yeah.
I
thought the whole purpose of religion was, to better our relationships with God and other people.
Right. To make ourselves better spiritually and to make...
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. And when you resort to violence, to make that point, it really doesn't.
I mean, could you imagine if if there was a religion that actually did incorporate guns en masse? Like, that would just be awful.
Oh,
just be like, peace be with you and also with you. I'm not so sure about that. It's like, come on. It's not how this works.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that goes to, although, like you said, there's so much misinterpretation of religion that, again, I think people... I think there's definitely a misnomer when it comes to the filtering of religion, I mean, religion, I think, in its wholeheartedness is trying to spread the word of, whatever it is they believe in, whether it's the teachings of the Quran or the teachings of the Bible, something like that. And I think, any religion, at least in this life, has the right to do that. Wouldn't you agree?
No, yes.
But the problem is, I think what happens is that a lot of times, because of the way the family unit is structured and sort of this patriarchal or matriarchal or just this sort of dominance that a parent has over a child, it's sort of a second filter,
Yeah.
Where, they'll say, the priest will say, this is what's, the God, I mean, maybe realistically, now that I think about it, that makes it 3 filters of interpretation, because it goes from the word to the priest or the religious leader, from them to the parent, from the parent to the child. That's, all of a sudden now we realize that, organized religion might end up being just one really, really confused game of telephone where nobody's had the answer yet.
Right.
You remember the old game telephone?
Yeah. Where somebody tells somebody a secret, and then that person passes it along to somebody else, and you keep going down the line, and then by the time it gets down to the last person, it's completely different from the original message.
That's exactly it. It's like, you start with the words, you whisper in somebody's ears, I love you, and then it goes through the things like oranges.
Yeah, right.
It's just like, and you wonder why it's got to this point with religion, too. And then, I just think that, if you believe in organized religion, fine. If you believe in a spirituality, fine. Just don't use guns on each other. That's all we ask.
Yeah.
Don't use fists. Don't use car bombs. Don't do that.
No.
Because that's not. I'm pretty sure. I mean, because a lot of people don't forget. Back at the times when these writings of Jesus and Muhammad were written, guess what? They weren't in existence yet. Guns and man-made devices.
True. Very true.
So I mean, How would you adapt to that? Maybe that would be my get-rich-quick scheme, Pat. I'm going to reinterpret it so it's modernized for a more understanding audience, for a more man-made audience. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. I've read the last couple words of Revelations. I know better than that. That's a one-way ticket to downstairs. That's what that will get me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Oh well.
What is it they say when you go to a relative's house or even your friend's house?
I know what you're going to say.
Two things you don't bring up: politics and religion.
Politics and religion.
Yeah. The very two things that you bring up when you have a talk show.
That's a very good point. It's how it ends families. It makes us money, Pat.
Yes.
Thanks for blowing that cover for us. I appreciate it so much.
I'm just trying to show the irony.
I know. I'm just joshing you. Yeah. I mean, I accept that as truth as much as anybody else.
Absolutely.
So great job this morning, and we will talk to you again at 9:05.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
That's Pat Septak. I'm Matt Durzik, and Miss Deborah, what's up this morning?
Yes, we don't want you to go down south.
No, yeah, that's I heard Atlanta's rough this time of year. Oh wait, that's not the one you're talking. Okay.
Hey, you know what song came to my mind when you and Pat were talking about that?
What's that?
I think it's a shame what happened. But I'll tell you the song that came to my mind. God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. Yes, and that's certainly a true.
I don't know about the beer part. I never drank it. I don't like it. But God is great, but people are crazy.
People are indeed crazy, and that's the whole thing too. I think for such a magnitude of a higher power, when it comes to the word, that of which whoever believes in, it's just a matter of how long is it going to take for this to be misinterpreted to the point where this is, and now we see it, whether it be the.
Well,
no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was just going to say that, the people who are like, the car bombers of extreme Islamism, or the, cult leaders that base themselves off of Jesus or something like that, those are the extremists that, most good, practicing religious people don't want to represent them, and yet here they are getting all the attention.
Well, this is all I know, okay?
All right.
I like to talk politics and religion to people that does not end up in a real argument. Like, I like to size people up sometimes first just to see. But then again, sometimes I will say something that if I know I'm right, or if I know the Bible is right, then I will definitely speak up about it. Like, for example, somebody years ago made a comment about tongues, speaking in tongues.
Right.
And he misquoted the scripture in 1 Corinthians about it. And I said, okay, if tongues cease, if you're saying tongues cease, all right, then I guess knowledge has ceased and prophecy has ceased, huh? He had nothing to say after that. I said, because it's all in the same sentence, right?
Mm.
And I said, you didn't read the rest of the scripture. I said, when perfection has come. And perfection hasn't come yet. So when I said, because he always would rag on me about the tongues thing, because, I go to a Pentecostal church. And so one night it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I said, you know what, look. And that's what I said. And after I said what I said, he didn't say anything. A couple of days later, somebody says to me, you shouldn't tell an older person. You shouldn't correct an older person.
Mm.
I said, when it comes to the Bible, and you're misinterpreting Scripture, and you're misquoting Scripture, that's okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, it's what's written down. Don't say it's not.
Don't twist the Scripture to fit what you want it to believe.
Right.
You don't do things like that, and that's where I have to speak up and say, no, that's not what the Bible says.
Right.
Now if it's something that they're talking about, like in a theological sense, then I kind of back away. It's like, okay, I'm not sure about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
so
that.
You just got to choose your arguments.
Yeah, exactly. So.
What were you going to say, hon?
No, I'm just agreeing with you, but I do have to run, Miss Deborah, so I do appreciate your time this morning, and thank you for your insight.
Hey, you're welcome, and you have a good day, and God bless and thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 724-843-1888, 724-774-1888 are the numbers to call in this morning here on AM Beaver County. The first Bucko Blast of the season at PNC Park proved to be the game-winning Bucko Blast, and Greg Brown explains how that happened in the Pirates' victory over Minnesota.
The Bucks defeat the Minnesota Twins 5-4 at PNC Park, the home opener, and the Pirates have started the 2018 season 4-0. A 5-run first inning against Lance Lynn held up. Gregory Polanco, the second batter of the game for the Pirates, doubled home Josh Harrison. Pirates would load the bases with 2 outs. And Colin Moran, the new Pirates left-handed hitting third baseman, launched his second home run in the big leagues.
The stretch, the pitch. Swinging a high drive to right field. It is grand salami time! Colin Moran, the new Bucko, just hit a grand slam. Welcome to Pittsburgh and PNC Park over the Clemente wall. Granny time for Colin Moran, don't you know?
First grand slam and his first home at bat as the new Bucko third baseman, and the Pirates took a 5-0 lead. Jamison Tyone pitching very well through 5 innings. Got the first out of the 6th, gave up a home run to second baseman Brian Dozier in that 6th inning, and after Joe Mauer singled off of him, Clint Hurdle lifted him in favor of Edgar Santana, who gave up a couple of runs. Josh Smoker gave up an RBI double. Dovydas Neverauskas, the Lithuanian right-hander, pitched 1 1/3 scoreless innings of relief. Michael Felice, a scoreless 8th and a 1-2-3 9th for George Contos, who earned the first save of the season and second of his career. 5-4, Pirates win it. Home opener at PNC Park. Bucks are 4-0. Greg Brown on your home for Pirates baseball.
In other action from yesterday in the Major Leagues, Boston beats Miami by a score of 7-3. Cincinnati with a 1-0 victory over the Cubs. It was Toronto 4, the White Sox 2. The Astros beat Baltimore 6-1. It was Washington 8, Atlanta 1. Cardinals beat Milwaukee by a score of 8-4. It was Oakland 3, Texas 1. Detroit beats Kansas City 6-1. The Diamondbacks win in 15 innings over the Dodgers by a score of 8-7. It was Colorado 7, San Diego 4, and the Indians beat the Angels by a score of 6-0. Pirates have the day off today. These teams don't. Seattle's at San Francisco. The Cubs are in Cincinnati. The Toronto Blue Jays host the White Sox. Boston's at Miami. The Royals are in Detroit. The Yankees host Tampa Bay. The Mets host Philadelphia. The Cardinals are in Milwaukee. The Nationals are in Atlanta. The Dodgers are in Arizona. The Astros host Baltimore. Cleveland is at the Angels. The Padres host Colorado. And Texas is at Oakland. On the ice last night, the Minnesota Wild beat Edmonton by a score of 3-0. Florida with a 3-2 victory over the Hurricanes. The Blues lose the Caps 4-2. It was the Maple Leafs 5, the Sabres 2. The Jets beat the Senators 6-5, and it was Los Angeles beating Colorado by a score of 3-1. Tonight, Detroit's at Columbus. The Devils host the Rangers. The Jets are in Montreal. The Islanders host Philadelphia. The Lightning host Boston. Arizona's at Calgary. Florida hosts Nashville. The Stars take on the Sharks. And the Canucks host the Golden Knights. Last night in the NCAA men's tournament final, it was Villanova with a 79-62 victory over Michigan. Dante DiVincenzo with 31 points to lead the Wildcats, who have won their second title in 3 years in men's college basketball. In professional basketball from last night, it was nobody, because there were no games last night. Tonight, action resumes as Atlanta is at Miami. The Bulls host Charlotte. The Magic take on the Knicks. The 76ers host Brooklyn. The Raptors are in Cleveland. The Rockets host Washington. It will be Boston at Milwaukee. The Thunder host Golden State. Pacers are in Denver. Dallas hosts the Trailblazers. The Lakers take on the Jazz. The Suns host the Kings. And the Spurs take on the Clippers in L.A. And that is sports for now. Our sportscasts are brought to you by MRS Physical Therapy.
You don't have to have had an accident, suffered a sports injury, or undergone surgery to take advantage of the benefits of physical therapy from Dale Reckless at MRS Physical Therapy. At a recent live broadcast at MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater, Dale Reckless talked about treatment for the common foot pain condition, plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis is a pretty common thing, and I tell my patients, don't wait to come and get some treatment for it. The longer you wait, the more chronic it becomes, and we'll still fix it, but it'll just take longer. If you come to see me when you're first getting the symptoms, then I can take care of it a lot quicker. What I do with plantar fasciitis is we give some stretches to do. I do a lot of hands-on exercise, and then I also do an evaluation of how they walk and how they stand. They need the hands-on work that I do to help cure the plantar fasciitis.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry Physical Therapy in Cranberry. Visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
Beaver County weather appears to rain today with thunderstorms possible and a high of 63 degrees. More thunderstorms likely tonight with a low of 43. Showers in the morning on Wednesday. Then continue cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour. And currently in Beaver County, we are looking at rainy skies with a temperature of 40 degrees. Tune in at 1230 WBVP and 1460 WNBA this Thursday morning from 9:10 to 10 a.m. because it's time to Ask the Commissioners. Brought to you by Huntington Bank, the Brighton Health Mart Pharmacy, West Banco, NIRA Consulting Engineers, creating great futures by design. Visit NIRAengineers.com. Sandy Egley, Daniel Camp, and Tony Amadeo will be live in the WBVP WNBA studio to field your questions. That's right, just tune in this Thursday from 9:10 to 10 a.m. and call 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888 and ask the Commissioners yourself on WBVP and WNBA. And lottery numbers from yesterday: 7-4 for the day pick 2, 7-4 for the day pick 2. The evening pick 2 is 1-9 for the evening pick 2. Pick 3 numbers from yesterday: 303 for the day drawing, 303 for the day pick 3. The evening pick 3 was 475, 475 for the evening pick 3. Pick 4 numbers from yesterday: 1420, 1420 for the day pick 4. The evening pick 4 was 8437, 8437 for the evening pick 4. Pick 5 numbers from yesterday: 15450, 15450 for the day pick 5. The evening pick 5 was 13852, 13852 for the evening pick 5. The wild ball for the day drawings was 7. The wild ball for the evening drawings was 9. Treasure hunt numbers from yesterday: 1, 7, 23, 25, and 28. 1, 7, 23, 25, and 28 for the treasure hunt. Cash 5 numbers: 3, 6, 12, 24, and 42. 3, 6, 12, 21, 24, and 42 for the cash 5 numbers. Match 6 numbers: 6, 7, 40, 41, 47, and 48. Nobody hit that. $4.1 million is tonight's Match 6 jackpot, and cash for life numbers 7, 12, 21, 24, 40. The cash ball is 2. Those are your numbers from the lottery. Hey, just a heads up that coming up in the next hour, Frank Sparks will have the Master Gardeners in on Teleforum.
Ooh, yeah, baby, you know what I like. Give me agriculture.
And that'll be from 9 until 10 this morning, followed by Open Talk from 10 until noon here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. No sports tonight, as the Pirates have the day off after their stunning, somewhat 4-0 start to the year. They'll be back at tomorrow night, 5:40 airtime, 6:05 first pitch from PNC Park, as the Buccos play game number 2 of their 2-game series against the Minnesota Twins. Thursday night, Penguins in Columbus for their penultimate regular season game as they take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. 6:30 airtime, 7 o'clock puck drop, a big matchup for playoff positioning, especially if the Blue Jackets win tonight. And then Friday night, the Quigley Classic coverage starts at 6:15. as the girls and boys All-Stars from Beaver County and the surrounding areas tip off in the last hurrah for this year's high school basketball season. Then, of course, Saturday Sports Slam live from the Maple Syrup Festival from 8 until 10 a.m. with myself and Greg Benedetti. And Reds and Pirates, 6:40 airtime, 7:05 first pitch on Saturday night. Then the Neil Huntington Show on Sunday at 12:35. 1:10 first pitch for Reds and Pirates on Sunday. So that's what's to look forward to as Beaver County Radio now in its 70th, yes, our 70th year of bringing you the best in sports here on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Enjoy those famous 50-cent wings Wednesday from 6 to 9 at Roberts Roadside Inn in Bridgewater. Roberts is also famous for their fish fry specials on Friday and those tasty daily lunch specials at rock bottom prices. Seniors get a 10% break on their meals Monday and Thursday from 11 to 9. Come to Roberts after work as happy hour is featured weekdays from 4 to 6. D&M DJs plays the hits on Fridays and host karaoke on Saturdays at Roberts Sports Patio, where you can book your grad party, reunion, or even wedding.
Talk about Roberts Roadside Inn. 'Cause Beaver County rocks at Roberts Roadside Inn. Come on down to Roberts Roadside. Beaver County's rocking tonight.
Join 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA at the 41st Annual Maple Syrup Festival at Braves Run Park this weekend, April 7th and 8th. Look for the famous BVP and NBA prize van on Saturday from 10 to 4 and on Sunday from 1 to 4. The Maple Syrup Festival offers continuous entertainment, vendors and craft displays, antique farm equipment, and more. Plus, it's free admission. Adults and children are welcome, but please leave the pets at home. Meal tickets are just $9 for adults and $5 for children. The 41st Annual Maple Syrup Festival is sponsored by the Beaver County Conservation District Board of Directors, staff, and employees, and co-sponsored by their volunteers. Free shuttle service is provided by Ferguson Transportation. Broadcast coverage is brought to you by West Banco, Marbles Restaurant and Tavern, J&J Spratt Funeral Home, Nautical Academics, Canoes Body Works, Barney August Florals, Diamond Milling, Vita Health and Wellness, Monaca Auto Sales, J. Young's Refuse, Al's Corner, Danbox Lake Forest Gardens, The Quarter Grill, and Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
If you want to know what's going on in Beaver County day or night, check us out at beavercountyradio.com and on Facebook at WBVP-WMBA.
Okay, I think I've had enough of this.
Yes, we can try this again tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And try again tomorrow, we will. Thank you to Pat Septak for a great job on News this morning. Thank you to those who are calling in for some great conversation. We'll do it all again tomorrow. 6:30 airtime here on AM Beaver County. Coming up next is Teleforum with Frank Sparks and the Master Gardeners from Penn State. Here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WPVP, Beaver Falls and New Brighton, 1460 WMBA, Ambridge, and Aliquippa.
Between President Trump and Russian President Putin. That raises the prospect of the Russian leader's first Washington visit in more than a decade. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says the executive mansion was among a number of potential venues discussed in Mr. Trump's phone call last month with Putin. President Trump keeping a close eye on that caravan of 1,200 Central American migrants making their way north through Mexico, apparently with the aid of the Mexican government. The president says Mexico, which has tough immigration laws, can and should stop the caravan before it reaches the border with the U.S. Mr. Trump's also demanding that Congress close loopholes in U.S. immigration law, make it tough to send illegal aliens back to their home countries. Wall Street futures are in the green this morning, suggesting we'll see a higher open about a half hour or so. And while traders might be nervous about a possible U.S.-China trade war, Beijing financial analyst Jackson Wang doesn't think it will come to that, even though President Trump has taken a strong stand.
He's a businessman. Usually he would give a tough offer first. But if the talks between China and the U.S. are going well, I think they will resolve in a much better way than he already said.
And checking the Wall Street futures right now, Dow futures up about 167 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 67. NASDAQ futures are up 19 points at the moment. After taking a closer look at Obama gas mileage standards for new cars and trucks, the EPA concludes that those rules have got to go. Environmental regulators say the timeline established by President Obama was not appropriate and the standards were set too high. Revised standards to come. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, this is Jack from Banyan Hill. You might have heard about the $34.6 billion that's expected to be doled out in what we call freedom checks. Huge checks that are changing people's lives from coast to coast. People like Sean from Pittsburgh. In fact, he's on the phone right now. Sean, you there?
Yes, I am, Jack.
Sean, let me ask you, how do you like getting these massive checks in your mailbox every month?
Well, Jack, we used to put stuff on credit cards living paycheck to paycheck. But now, after we started collecting a specific kind of freedom check, I have to say, life's a lot more fun.
I bet it is. In fact, getting massive freedom checks is fun no matter who you are. And with $34.6 billion expected to be paid out in private, non-government money starting as early as May 1st, now's the time to stake your claim on some cash. To get all the details, go to www.freedomchecks128.com before the May 1st deadline. That's www.freedomchecks128.com.
After a 24-year search, a Chinese couple has been reunited with their daughter.
Wang Mingqing and his wife Liu Chengying were busy running a fruit stall in January 1994 when they briefly took their eyes off their small daughter. The next thing, she was gone, and for the last 2 decades they've searched in vain for Qifeng. After Wang became a taxi driver, he urged his customers to help look for his lost daughter via social media. Now he's found her. There are no official statistics, but every year it's estimated that some tens of thousands of Chinese children are kidnapped and sold for adoption.
That's a BBC's Stephen McDonald. Israel's defense minister says the military will not change its tough response to Hamas-led mass protests near Gaza's border with Israel, warning that those who stray near the border will endanger their lives. News and analysis, townhall.com. The Trump administration introducing production quotas for immigration judges.
The Justice Department's Executive Office for Immigration Review says new standards will take effect October 1st, mandating judges complete 700 cases a year in order to earn a satisfactory grade. Under the new standards, a judge who wraps up more than 560 cases but fewer than 700 will be graded needs improvement. A judge deciding fewer than 560 cases will be graded unsatisfactory. Currently, there's a backlog of more than 650,000 immigration cases, partly due to stepped-up immigration arrests under the Trump administration. Mike Gracia, Washington.
Many schools closing for a second day in Oklahoma as teachers rally for higher pay and more education funding. Thousands of Oklahoma educators walked out of classrooms yesterday in the latest evidence of teacher rebellions in some states. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Beaver County's radio news source, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Here's Pat Septak.
And good morning. We are up 2 degrees from last hour. We're currently at 41 degrees in Beaver County on this Tuesday, April 3rd. 2018. The Beaver County weather forecast calling for periods of rain, thunderstorms possible today, and a high of 63 degrees. I'll have that complete Beaver County weather forecast for you coming up right after this look at news. And topping our news this hour, a Center Township road project is put on hold after the township receives a rejection letter from PennDOT. Beaver County radio news correspondent Sandy Giordano has the story.
Center Township received a rejection letter from PennDOT. It was announced at last night's meeting. A road project that won't be done until next spring in Center Township hit a snag when PennDOT sent the township a letter. Modifications for the multimodal grant will be sent to PennDOT. Ned Mitrovich, Township engineer, said that the state received 22 applications for the $5 million grant. U-Haul has to apply for a conditional use hearing before they proceed at the site of the former Macy's, which they purchased last year. Planning Director Frank Vecchio said, "We don't know what the uses will be." Solicitor Nicholas Urick was instructed to contact U-Haul in Pittsburgh. This is Sandy Giordano reporting for WBBP WMBA Beaver County.
A man hit by a car Sunday in Lawrence County is in the hospital with serious injuries. According to Union Township Police, the man was walking in the road when he was hit by a car. Police say the man was making his way home from work. The accident happened just after 11 p.m. on Route 224. Police say no one will be cited. And court officials say distracted driving citations in Pennsylvania jumped by 52% last year and have increased 172% since 2013. Nearly 7 in 10 citations were issued to men, and more than a third were to people in their 20s. A 2012 state law lets police pull over motorists that they suspect of texting while driving. State law prohibits texting while driving, subjecting violators to a fine of $50. It is also illegal to drive while wearing headphones. It's coming up on 9:08, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Here's the Beaver County forecast from 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Weather-wise, we're looking for periods of rain throughout the day. Thunderstorm possible. We'll have a high today of 63. Then tonight, more thunderstorms are likely. Overnight low of 43. And then for Wednesday, showers in the morning, then continued cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour. A high on Wednesday near 50. Currently it is 41 degrees in Beaver County.
Here's what's going on in your town. A look at the Community Bulletin Board on WBVP and WMBA.
The Merrick Art Gallery presents Illustrato Realism by Alan Byrne. Pittsburgh artist Alan Byrne will be exhibiting his Pittsburgh landscape oil paintings in a solo show at the Merrick Art Gallery in New Brighton beginning April 15th. Byrne initially worked as a scenic designer and then taught graphic design using Photoshop and Illustrator. His goal was to incorporate the new techniques into his work using the programs to enhance and create images that serve as guidelines for his paintings. The opening reception is Sunday, April 15th from 1 to 4, and the exhibition runs through May 6th. The Merrick Art Gallery is located at 1100 Fifth Avenue in New Brighton. And if you want more information or if you have any questions, you can give them a call at the Merrick. The phone number is 724-846-1130. That's 724-846-1130. And that is a look at the news. Our next full report coming up at the bottom of the hour, beginning at 9:30. I'm Pat Septak. Stay tuned now for Teleform with Frank Sparks on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA News.
Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Frank.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
We were having a conversation about a conversation that I'm going to have later.
Oh, okay.
So about one of the stories that is out there this morning. But we'll talk later about that.
Okay.
So how's things today?
Yeah, everything's going well.
Good. So quiet day.
Quiet day, yeah.
Not going to be for long. Some major storms rolling through later on. Thank God it's rain and not snow.
Yes, I agree with that.
So, and speaking of snow, did you wonder if maybe some of your plants around the yard that are coming up might have been affected by the snow?
I'm sure a lot of the plants are affected.
So we're going to talk with our own Penn State Master Gardeners, Don Buffington and Adele Whipple, this morning
all right.
to start out.
Good.
So we're going to find out about that, and then we're going to roll on from there and talk about those lovely ladies that are now suing that clinic in Ohio.
Yeah.
And also we're going to talk about Trump this morning, too, of course.
Of course.
And Trump is fiery mad because they pulled a fast one on him.
Yeah.
And he's not happy about it.
Nope.
So, ... He'll learn politics someday.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the businessman in that White House.
Yeah.
Politics are tricksters, and they pulled the wool over President Trump's eye. And we're going to talk about that this morning, too.
All
We got
right.
a lot going on.
Should be good.
Yeah. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you at 9:30.
Okay, thanks, Frank.
All right, Pat.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
Awesome! I came to play. There's a price to pay. Time for you to get down on your knees and pray. You can say goodbye to the good old days. They're never coming back. Watch a future fade. I came to play. Get my dues paid. I guess you had a dream, but it can't be saved. I came to play.
everybody, and welcome to Teleform. It is a Tuesday morning. It's a rainy Tuesday morning here in Beaver County. So make sure when you go out, you got your umbrella. And probably by tomorrow at this time, with all the rain and everything, number one, you're going to be up picking up your yard. And then number two, you might need a boat with all this rain if you live in a lower end of town or something of that magnitude. But starting out the show this morning, we do have the Penn State Master Gardeners, Don Buffington and Del Whipple are here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in today. It's a little,
glub.
little wet. At least today's rain and not like yesterday with the snow.
Yeah, you saw in the news that they had slides on Electric Avenue, and I thought, the electric slide? Whole new meaning.
Well, remember that used to be a song, too, by, I think it was Eddie Money or something. Remember that song, Electric Avenue? You don't remember that from the 70s? That was a 70s song. I can't remember. I'll have to find it.
I go way, way back.
Well, it's still a song of the 70s. So, all right, well, join us this morning. We're going to talk a little bit. Phone lines are open, and I got a couple questions right off the bat for you guys.
Oh, good.
So 724-774-1888, 843-1888. And I'm sure somewhere, somehow, somebody wants to know, is the snow hurting my tulips? Mine still have floppy ears like the bunny. I think they're Easter tulips.
Yeah, well, sometimes the
they bloom.
foliage
There's
on
certain
tulips.
varieties bloom different. They don't come all at once sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes tulip leaves do turn.
They do.
They sort of lean over like that.
They used to be spry, but the last 2 years they've looked like bunny ears.
No,
All right. Good morning. You're on Teleform.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? You have to call back after 10, okay?
Okay, bye,
All right,
bye.
All right, buddy. He goes away. My man goes away.
We can't. Speaker's not here, or is it on?
Can you hear out of it? It was on. So
nothing on the control here.
All right. Well, tell you what. Let's jump out for 1 second. We'll come right back, and we'll have it working.
It all started 70 years ago with the unmistakable voice of Chuck Wilson as WBVP went on the air as Beaver County's first radio station.
351. There's a shot from way on the outside. Drive by Bill Hickey, and the ball game ends. Aliquippa wins the state championship 63-51 for the first time in the history of the school. And there will be jubilation in Aliquippa tonight, just as there's jubilation down here on the court in front of our Jones and Loughlin broadcasting booth tonight here at Amherst Convention Hall in Philadelphia, where Sam Milanovich took his team through their 29th straight undefeated basketball game for the first time in the history of the school.
Every Thursday, enjoy another 70th anniversary moment aired on WBVP, WMBA, and published on the station's online feeds. The 70th Anniversary Moment series is presented in part by Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Rochester Manor and Villa, Beaver Valley Sheep Meadow, Hank's Frozen Custom Mexican Food, Aliquippa Giant Eagle, and the radio station that changed the course of history 7 decades ago, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
It's time for the most mouth-watering Maple-licious festival in Beaver County, the 2018 Maple Syrup Festival. It's all happening on Saturday and Sunday, April 7th and 8th at the Brady's Run Lodge on Route 51 near Falston. While you're there, enjoy scrumptious all-you-can-eat homemade pancakes, maple syrup, maple candy, maple lollipops, and maple-coated cashews. Oh my goodness! Plus, there's live entertainment, pony rides, nearly 100 crafters of all types, mountain men encampment, and educational fun for the entire family. But leave your furry friends at home, please. You'll love the Civil War and Revolutionary War reenactments, but the real star of the day is the maple syrup. All-you-can-eat breakfast tickets, including made from scratch pancakes, are just $9 for adults and $5 for kids. Proceeds benefit countywide conservation districts education programs. It's the 41st annual Maple Syrup Festival at Brady's Run Lodge on Route 51 near Falston. See you there, April 7th and 8th.
Tune in to Beaver County's oldest running buy, sell, trade, or give it away show. It's the Yankee Trader with host Diane Ambrosius, weekday afternoons from 1 to 2 p.m. on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Here on Teleform. It is 9:16, and we're visiting this morning with the Penn State Master Gardeners, Don Buffington and Del Whipple, and let's go right back to the phone lines. Good morning. You're on with the Penn State Master Gardeners.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
The other day when it was nice, I noticed in my lawn, apparently there's grubs there, and I noticed little tunnels like probably moles. My question would be to the Master Gardeners, when would be a good time to treat that?
Well, you don't want to go out in there right now.
For moles, you mean, or grubs?
Well, I noticed that there's grubs there, like certain areas in the lawn, and I think I was told when there's grubs, there's moles, and I see little tunnels there.
Yeah, okay, that's moles, yes.
Yeah. So when should I treat that?
For both.
For moles, you can do that anytime.
Well, for the grubs too.
Well,
It's two different things.
Yeah, it's two different things. The moles will eat grubs, but they also like fishing worms also.
They
prepare them.
But
so what should I treat that with?
Well, there's a couple products on. There's a repellent on that has castor oil base, which you can put on, which will drive the moles away. There's also products that you can get that'll actually kill the mole that you can put in the tunnels.
Yeah. I thought there was one project that I seen on a bag where it would last all year for grubs and moles. It's all in one
that's two different
bag.
animals. There is. I understand there's a product on that you can put on for any time for grubs. I don't know what I don't know what the brand names are, but you'd have to check in the garden centers and read the labels and so forth. But there are products like that. Yes, I've heard that.
Okay, so when could you put that on?
You look at the bag and it'll tell you when the best time to put on. Now I don't think it would be worth your time now because the grubs they're coming up and they're going to pretty soon turn into beetles and so forth. The best time is in the summertime, like midsummer. But if it works all year round, like I said, read the instructions, whatever it says when to put it on and so forth.
There is a product that's been around forever, and it's called Milky Spore, and it's a biological, and it's only for Japanese beetles. People think Japanese beetles are the only beetles. There are chinch bug beetles and all kinds of beetles, but they will have grubs. So if you put Milky Spore down, one, it's pricey. Two, it takes a long time to take effect, and it only kills Japanese beetle grubs.
So it's not really worth the expense, to my way of thinking.
No, I need something for the moles and the grubs.
Well,
I was just told where there's grubs, there's moles.
Well, that's true.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. You can have grubs and not have moles.
If you're lucky. But it's true that they may be there. It's like when the baby cries, it rains, that one doesn't cause the other. And so to try to treat grubs and moles with one product can't be because one's an insect and the other's a mammal. So
I see.
And you can treat you can get little traps. You can get things that will drop almost like a guillotine, it'll spear them. But when you see the tunnel, when you see above the ground, this winter there were star-nosed moles out, and they make tunnels. They're the ones that make the big volcano, the star-nosed mole.
Yeah, I've seen them tunnels, yeah.
All right, well, that's the star-nosed mole. There are other kinds of moles, but then the voles make little tiny runs, and you'll see it looks like...
They don't dig ground.
No.
Voles don't go underground like that.
But they look like little road maps, and you look out in the snow, and you see it looks like little streets.
But that's vole. That's
yeah, those are voles, and that's an entirely different... Call the office, because Don and I are going to be over there tomorrow, and we'll send you the information so you know moles from voles to grubs, and we'll send you information on when and how. You don't want to get out there now in any case and tramp around on your grass because you're compacting the soil, and it's a little too wet. So be sort of careful about that. But this week, and if you're really into thatching, you can... don't try to mow in this grass, but you can top dress low spots and do some patching if you want to reseed. This week and next week you can aerate the turf if you're into doing that. I'm not. But you need to apply crabgrass preventer before the middle of the month because that's about when the forsythia blooms, and that's the best time. So
okay. And I'll call down there, and thank you for taking my call.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Now, this time of year, you're talking about yards and stuff like that. Would this be, so now would be the good time if you have, say, an animal that's done something to your backyard, now's the good time to get the spots and seed it now?
Right now, I don't think it would be. The ground's too wet and too muddy and stuff to really get out to do much of anything.
Yeah, if it weren't raining. But we're going to have rain. Did you look at the 10-day forecast?
Oh, yeah.
So it's not going to be...
Every couple days.
pleasant. Yesterday was supposed to be warm at the ball game. It wasn't.
Did you go?
No, my daughter-in-law did.
Oh, okay.
Waved to her on
I
TV.
thought maybe the way you said that you went there and froze to death yesterday.
No, Ginny goes to opening season opening. She usually goes with her
Gotcha.
uncle, who's a ball player.
Okay.
But in any case, the diehards went. But it was supposed to warm up to 50. It didn't get near there, and then they had to remove all the snow. So you have to take into account what's happening locally to see what to do.
Right.
If it weren't snowy, rainy, and wet, you could do those things, but you don't want to get out there now. That's why I encourage people to call the office, because we can send them the information that'll say to them, if it's pouring down rain, don't go out there. You ought to know that. Turkeys know that.
True. You would think that.
No, I'm not saying you're a turkey.
Okay. All right. So, with the snow we have had, and then some of the areas here that are in our listening range, but not necessarily right local here, might be seeing some more snow this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any type of plant that you might have outside that you need to protect or anything, like your daffodils or your tulips or anything?
Nope.
Just
Snow
let them go?
Snow won't hurt anything. It's up now.
Okay, so just let them go.
Just let them go.
Okay. All right. Another question for you. Good morning. You're on with the Master Gardeners.
Hey, good morning.
Frank, what's up?
Well, back when I was a little boy, my mother had probably a garden, real long garden, probably 100 feet long, and she filled it up with tulips. And she had 2 round gardens that she filled up with tulips, and we had moles. And back, I'm an old man, so mom and dad didn't have that much money. But what they would do is, those little pinwheels that you get at the Walmart or at a pharmacy or something?
Yes. Uh-huh.
She'd stick them in the holes where the moles were at, and she'd put them all around the yard, and she'd keep them in there all year long, all summer long. And we didn't have any moles anymore. They can't stand that vibration.
Yeah, I suspect that's what it was, the vibrations. And you can buy machine or little solar battery things that you stick in the ground, and it will also make vibrations.
Yeah,
it
doesn't
worked. Kill them. It just
you
chases.
got rid of them out of the gardens.
Right.
Yeah, drive them away.
It chases them to somebody else's yard. But if you don't want them, that's fine. But you might have somebody that doesn't like all those little pinwheels in their yard, because some people are picky about what it looks like. Some people might think those are pretty additions. So, yeah, you're right. There were a lot of old-fashioned ways to do things, and some work.
Yeah, okay. I just thought I'd just, tell you about it.
Thanks you. That's a
All
good
right.
idea.
Thanks,
Okay,
Frank.
Uncle.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Right back at it. Georgie.
Good morning, Frank. Good
What's
morning,
up?
Master Gardeners.
Good morning.
I have a quick question to ask you folks. I got an area in my yard. It's damp and that it collects a lot of moisture. I didn't want to dig the ground up and put a drain pipe or anything in there. What bush or what type of plants could I use to absorb that moisture from that area?
Not many things like their roots to be wet. You
What's
might.
that? I didn't hear you.
Not many things like their roots to be wet.
Okay.
Is the mic on okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so there might be some kind of a bamboo or a water plant you could put in there, or dig it a little deeper and make a pond. But plants aren't going to absorb moisture that sits there all the time, don't you think?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's too much water for most plants, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to go to a weeping willow tree,
Yeah.
No.
No bushes, no type of bush.
No, not really offhand, particularly for that kind of an area, no.
Unless now let me see, there are some grasses that might grow in water. There are, if you want to plant cannas, they don't mind being in water, because I've seen them sunk in pots into ponds.
Okay.
Let me see what else. There's some other things there that would like that.
It's not really constantly wet. It's like doing this, like in the spring and that,
Yeah, it's a soggy spot.
Yeah, yes.
But I call the office because I'll pull up some more information for you. My old brain doesn't hold all that, because it's getting to that place where you have to wait till the
Mine
next.
doesn't either anymore.
Well, we won't talk about that too much. But anyhow,
Right.
because I can pull the stuff up, and Don can write, and you can read his writing, and he knows lots of stuff. So call us at the office, and I'll send you things, because I have a whole book full of things you can use for not necessarily ground cover, but something like that for a dampish spot.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't give you more help than that.
No problem. I appreciate your time, then. I'll try to give you a call sometime this week, then.
Okay.
All right, Georgie. All right, buddy.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye now.
All right. One more question before news. What's up?
Hi, I want to get some strawberries, and I want to know, should I get plants or seeds? What would be the best thing to do?
For strawberries?
Yes.
You want to buy the plants.
Okay, and where's the best place to buy them?
Most your
feed stores and places like
nurseries and things like that. My garden centers that handle stuff like that.
I've had more luck when I buy them from like a greenhouse compared to the compared to a big box store.
Oh yeah.
I think maybe because they don't water them or something
As
much or something.
They take care of them better.
Yeah.
I had that problem last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the
I
best.
think that's a good thing to have. We don't have enough strawberry growers here in this area.
Yeah,
obviously. We got a shortage going on.
Well, and they have
maybe I ought to start my own strawberry
There
farm.
you go.
There you go.
You go over in Ohio, they have lots of strawberry things. The truckers used to plant them. They would plant them.
Mhm.
They'd run the rototiller between the rows. They would go out on the road. They'd come back. You could go over and pick your own berries. They didn't care if you ate
still
them.
have that now.
What part of Ohio is that?
Oh, it got me. It's over there somewhere.
It's not. They put.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
But give our phone number because people might want to call, and I don't really remember the number.
Right.
Our phone number is 724-774-3003.
Website. Putting you to the test.
You got me. I don't know what. I don't know what
Penn
it is
State
off.
Extension. I'll look it up during the news, but I
don't
think
know
it's Penn State Extension. We got a whole bunch of people coming through now, so yeah. So we did the cows and stuff last month, right after you guys. I can't remember what was her name. I don't remember. I'll remember.
You mean 4-H?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, no. She goes out and works with all the farmers, with the new farmers, and shows the new farmers about.
Okay.
You know, I can't remember. I'll
We've
know
got
it.
new people in.
Yeah. She's actually out of the Butler office and the Beaver office both. She does both of them.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so what are we going to talk about after news?
Talk about your holiday plants, how to take care of them. What you got for Easter.
Okay.
What to do with your roses and shrubs, and when to prune and shape things, and when not to prune and shape things, and when not to spray things, because if people want to spray fruit, you've got to be careful about that. So whatever you want to talk about.
All right, and obviously, since you handed me this, we're going to talk about caterpillars and tent worms.
Well, I just gave you this because you're going to have to be looking for example, tent worms when you see, when the cherry trees start, you're going to see tent worms really fast.
Okay.
You'll see the webs. So.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we'll talk about all that and everything in the next segment. But we're going to talk to Pat first, and he's going to tell us what's going on in the world.
Beaver County's radio news source, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Here's Pat Septak.
Oh, good morning. 41 degrees in Beaver County on this Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. Periods of rain today, thunderstorms possible, and a high of 63 degrees. I'll have that complete Beaver County weather forecast for you coming up right after this look at news. Topping our news this hour, unlike Bill O'Reilly, Laura Ingraham will be returning to Fox News after her vacation, despite an exodus of advertisers turned off by the controversy surrounding her attack on Parkland school shooting survivor David Hogg. More than a dozen sponsors, including Expedia, Nestle, and Hulu, pledged to pull their ads from the Ingraham angle after calls for a boycott, and many more are believed to be steering clear of the program. Fox News co-president Jack Abernethy tells the Los Angeles Times, quote, "We cannot and will not allow voices to be censored by agenda-driven intimidation efforts." We look forward to having Laura Ingraham back hosting her program next Monday when she returns from spring vacation with her children. End quote. O'Reilly, whose sponsors deserted him before he was fired by Fox amid sexual harassment allegations, is also supporting Ingraham. A Midland couple is facing a number of charges for allowing a juvenile to live in their home in horrible conditions. According to police, 62-year-old Robert McDowell and 52-year-old Anna Holben were charged with endangering the welfare of a child, corruption of minors, and simple assault. Police were called to the residence in connection with a couple fighting. When officers went inside the home, they found it in deplorable condition. Bond for both was set at $5,000. Women's rights attorney Gloria Allred has agreed to represent 3 women who lost eggs when an Ohio fertility clinic storage tank malfunctioned. Allred said at a news conference in Cleveland on Monday that her clients are cancer survivors who delayed chemotherapy to undergo fertility treatments at the clinic run by university hospitals. She says mistreatment of women is wrong anytime, but especially in such an intimate and personal part of life. The clinic said last week that an alarm system was turned off on a storage tank that malfunctioned in early March and ruined more than 4,000 eggs and embryos. Several lawsuits have been filed against university hospitals. Trump administration officials are crafting a new legislative package aimed at closing immigration loopholes. The effort follows the president's calls for Republican lawmakers to change Senate rules to muscle it through. Trump has been seething over immigration since realizing the major spending bill he signed last month barely funds the big, beautiful border wall that he has promised his supporters. Sacramento's first black police chief is struggling to find the right balance of reforms after his officers fatally shot an unarmed African-American man. Chief Daniel Hahn is an unlikely officer growing up in a tough neighborhood of California's capital city and having his own early run-ins with police. He tells the Associated Press that the city could rethink its policy on pursuing suspects after Stephon Clark's death, but he warns every change brings consequences. Many schools are closing for a second day in Oklahoma as teachers rally for higher pay and more education funding. Thousands of Oklahoma educators walked out of classrooms Monday in the latest evidence of teacher rebellion in some Republican-led states. Teachers also protested Monday in Kentucky to voice dissatisfaction with a pension revision. And Medicare is sending out new identification cards that no longer display enrollees' Social Security numbers. Andrea Sears explains in this report.
Pennsylvania residents will be among the first to receive the new cards that assign each person a randomly generated 11-digit number. Joanne Grossi, president of AARP Pennsylvania, points out that Social Security numbers are the keys for access to personal financial records, medical information, and legal documents. So if a card with a Social Security number on it was ever lost or stolen, the enrollee could easily fall victim to identity theft.
Every time you're giving over that personal Social Security number, it's an opportunity for either an individual or a hacker to use it for opening credit cards or getting a loan.
She says once the new card arrives, the old card should be destroyed. But if you're on a Medicare Advantage or a Part D prescription plan, those are separate, so be sure to keep those cards. I'm Andrea Sears reporting.
Here's the Beaver County forecast from 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Periods of rain throughout the day. Thunderstorms possible on a high of 63. Tonight, more thunderstorms likely. Overnight low, 43. And then Wednesday, showers in the morning, then continued cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour, a high near 50. Currently, we are at 41 degrees in Beaver County. And that's a look at the news. Our next full report coming up at the top of the hour, beginning at 10:05. I'm Pat Septak for Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA News.
Teleform, and we're visiting this morning with the Penn State Master Gardeners. Tom Buffington and Del Whipple are here. If you have any phone call questions for them, call 724-774-1888 and 843-1888. So far, abundance of questions this month, huh, guys?
Yeah. Well, we're getting it season.
Tis the season, huh?
Right, coming.
So what should you already have basically seeded in your house if you're doing from seed? Should you have anything already growing in the house?
Yeah, start your vegetable plants. I started mine. Peppers
Okay.
and tomatoes. Things like that. Now's a good time. Usually it takes, 6 to 8 weeks before you plant them outside, so it depends on Usually the end of May is the time that you put them out. Sometimes if you have time, you put them out a little mid-May, and if it goes to frost, you have to cover them if you have the time, So it's best to wait.
Okay.
And now's the time to get them started. Yeah.
And if you forget, every seed packet has directions on
Yeah,
the
they'll
back
tell you
when to
use
start
6
them
to 8
indoors.
weeks before you plant them outside.
Because some people don't read past start.
Yeah, right. Yeah, oh yes, that's right. But yeah, all your vegetable seeds.
Okay. So Don, you had talked about Easter plants. So
Right.
what's some of the care for some of the Easter plants
Well, one
that
of
you
the
might
big
have got?
thing is most of them have that foil wrapped around them.
Right.
So what you want to do is either take it off, punch a hole in the bottom, and put a saucer on it to get your water that goes through. Because if you don't, the water will just lay in there and cause the roots to rot.
Gotcha.
And you need to keep the plants in. You don't have to have them necessarily in direct sun, but in a light window. And when they're done blooming and so forth, you can plant them outside.
So how
the
long?
lilies and the tulips and all that stuff can go outside.
How long should you wait before you would put something like that in the ground at this point with the way the weather is this year?
I would wait till the ground warms up, and of course you get rid of dries out some. It's too
Mhm.
wet to be out there playing. But anytime, like I said, the tulips, if you have them in the house and they're done blooming, cut the spent flower off, but leave the leaves are, and then like I said, when it gets warm enough, you can go out and plant them. And the same with the Easter lilies; they'll plant and they'll come up year after year too.
So you're saying plant them like June or July?
Let's hope not that late.
If it weren't soggy and raining, you could put them in the
Well,
ground
I
now.
was being a smart aleck because of the rain.
yeah. The rain is what's
I'm
holding
going to
me
get
back.
a fire hose and spray it on you, Smarty. But another thing about that, if you have this now that Easter's over, I buy a lot of bargain tulips and things like that because they were pricey. You can snap the blossom off, take the stalk off, and keep the bulbs because they're going to need to be in the
You can plant the bulbs. You can plant
Yeah.
the bulbs with the tops on, Yeah, I did that last year. I bought them at a bargain, but I don't know what color they are. They're up, but I got to wait till they bloom to see what I got.
Well, the reason right now they're starting to look ratty in the
Yeah,
stores, so that's how I would take that top off
the
and the stem.
flower out, yeah.
But don't take the leaves off.
No, leave them go.
I always try to see what I can go to the. I call it the reject bin and see
Oh,
what I can
yeah.
rescue.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
that got a
great
little
fun
green.
'cause it cost you what, $1 or something
Right.
like that.
So if it dies, if you can't
Yeah,
rescue,
right.
you can't rescue it. But that's how a lot of the flowers and tulips and things through my yards are.
And I figure that's money I would have spent on ice cream, which you'd have to widen the door if I ate all that money worth of ice cream.
All right, so we're getting to the time of year where, bushes are starting to grow and things like that. For example, when should you trim them now before they start to actually blossom?
Well, it depends. If they're spring blooming plants, you don't want to prune them now because you're going to prune off your blossoms.
Okay.
Anything else, you could be pruning them back. Anything that shape them, whatever. Rose bushes, mine haven't shown any life. The one I've had for so many years, I hope it didn't freeze out, but I've had it for many years. It shows no bud activity at all on it. So whether the weather got it or what, but it's maybe too cold for. And be a little patient now because it is colder than what we normally think. Average temperature is around 55, I think.
Right.
When's the last time we hit that? For any length of time,
It's
been
the
in the 40s.
nighttime temperatures that I worry about.
Well, but the air temperature and so forth. So it's just just have to be a little bit patient this year, I think, before we get out there and really go strong.
Yeah, see, I always usually cut my roses back in the fall.
It's better than
I know.
spring.
Well, I learned that. I learned that from you guys.
For years, that was away.
Right.
Years away, we did that. But like I said, in the last few years, they've come up and said it's better in the spring, which
Okay.
I understand because if you cut them back in the fall and then they die back further, you're cutting them back even further. So
Right.
the spring makes more sense. But
Gotcha.
Yeah,
It depends on what you like, because you have the advantage if you cut them back in the fall. If there's anything overwintering on those, you've eliminated that by taking all that away. But God made bugs for a reason, it's just to bug us. So.
Well, that's how I learned that. As I was starting to say, I've learned that in the past from you guys to prune them in the spring. So now would be the time to prune your rose bushes if you're going to
the
do
best
it.
time if they're showing a little bit of bud coming out, so you can see what to prune out.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. So some of them, I haven't seen a lot of activity except for the daffodils and the tulips so far.
Hyacinth stuff are all
Yeah, that's about it so far. The
Right,
rest of them are like,
But you want to prune
Well,
those roses.
my lilac bushes are the buds. I'm seeing a little green in them. They're swelling
Okay.
up. But, I'm surprised at that.
Usually my azalea bushes are starting to bud up a little bit, but when I looked at them the other day, I haven't seen
cold.
anything. Yeah.
But for your roses, you want to prune early, especially for climbers, just before the new growth gets growing, because you want to see where the new growth is, and that'll
Right.
help you to know where to cut. And then you want to scratch in some. Now, don't go out in the rain, but scratch in some fertilizer now as soon as the leaves come out. because they're going to need the fertilizer to make the leaves nice. And then start watching for aphids, because as soon as you get some green on there,
bugs will be flying.
Aphids will be showing up, and if you're going to treat them, they'll read the label.
So when's a good time to get all that old mulch out of there and put new mulch in?
Oh, you can remulch anytime.
Anytime? Okay. Okay. I didn't know if maybe
it's really better if you're going to put anything on, at least now, if you take the old, let the ground warm up a bit before you put the mulch on, because that'll keep the cool.
Keep the cold in.
Cool, yeah.
And if you feel that ground underneath the mulch, you'll be surprised how cold it is.
All right. Charlie around the corner's calling. He's got something for you.
Hi, Charlie.
Charlie, what's up?
Good morning, good people. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Good.
Hey, I want you to, that guy that's sitting or standing next to you, give him a little nudge, because him and the guys at the radio station have been wham about this snow we've been getting.
Mm-hmm.
This is onion snow, people.
I don't have my onions in yet, though.
Well, it's been tough, Don, because I've kind of, waited for a section of the ground to dry out a little bit, and I did some tilling and that. But I swear to goodness, if I get the onions in and we get a snow, even a little skip of snow like we had yesterday, they always seem to do better. It chills the ground as they're starting to take root or whatever, but it does seem to help.
Oh, yeah?
I call it white rain, Charlie.
White rain, okay. I want to run something by you. You might laugh about this, because I used to work with this guy, and I will just say that I've worked with some interesting carbon life forms in my life. But this guy worked part-time for an exterminator, and people have been calling about moles and voles and things like that. He swore to God they would go out on a job, and if the only problem was moles, voles, stuff like that, they used X-Lax. He said they would unwrap a bunch of X-Lax in the truck so the customer couldn't see what they were using, and go out and put them in the burrows, and they would eat them, and they would die.
I have heard that.
Yeah, but that's not scientific. We don't even mention that because it's not a research-based thing. But the old guys, I think the old trapper from over in Ohio, that was his, because people couldn't afford to go out and buy stuff, but they always had that
stuff that they would try. And if it works for you, then go ahead.
But the thing is, if your doggy digs that up, Charlie.
I was going to say, if you got a medicine,
Well, yeah, and I haven't had a dog for years, but yeah, Frank said, you got 3 of them in the house, Frank?
Yeah.
Yeah, they may not make it to the door on time.
Yeah.
All right, I won't take no more of your time, but you had heard of that, but it's not, and I understand it. If it's not scientifically proven, you wouldn't want to mention it. But the idiots that call in mention it.
Yeah.
All right, stay safe, guys.
All right, Charlie.
You too.
Charlie just named himself because he calls in.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well,
No, call names, Charlie.
This coming from the guy that's outside grilling ham on Easter Sunday outside on the grill.
There's no accounting for children.
People laugh at me, my neighbors, be out in the middle of winter grilling a steak. What's the big deal?
Whatever works, whatever you like. Yeah.
So, all right, let's take our second break of the hour, and then we come back. We'll talk more about different. What we can talk about next? So we talked about plants. We could talk about. How about if we talk about blight and the caterpillars and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, the pests.
All right, the pests. That's fun stuff.
Why did he look at me when he said that?
Because you gave me the paper.
Are you calling me a pest? Are you talking to me?
I didn't say a word. I'm just sitting here doing my thing.
It's the look.
I'll say to you what I say to my wife. I'm just sitting here doing my thing.
History is one of the greatest treasures. There are many reasons that historical coins and jewelry are worth so much money. Young's Jewelry and Coins in Rochester wants you to know that there are several reasons for this. For one thing, they represent a period of time or are maybe even associated with an event or memory. In addition, scarcity plays a big part in determining value, and that over the years there are fewer and fewer of the item around. And lastly, material value. Depending on what the item is made of will have value alone. Gold, platinum, and silver are examples of precious metals that have high value regardless of what form it is in. That's why Young's Jewelry and Coins is always buying your old broken unwanted jewelry coins and collectibles. Even if nobody else wants it anymore, Young's will still give you cash today for the value of what it's made of. It pays to learn your history, especially when it comes to getting historically high prices for your gold, silver, platinum, or certain collectibles from Young's Jewelry and Coins. History teaches us that smart people shop at Young's Jewelry and Coins in Rochester. Visit youngsjewelry.com.
Please tune in Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. and again on Sunday mornings at 10:30 and 11:30 a.m. for Safe Money Radio right here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Saturdays just keep getting better. Tune in to Beaver County Radio this and every week for an exciting lineup that starts with Safe Money Radio at 7:30 a.m., followed by the Saturday Sports Slam with Matt Durzik and Greg Benedetti at 8. Then it's the Eric McKenna Show starting at 10, followed by Frontiers and Learning provided by Lincoln Learning Solutions at noon. Then the all-new Jim Taddio's Hometown begins at 12:30 with Solid Gold Saturday Afternoon with Bob Fry to keep you company from 1:30 to 5. Right here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
For the best in local sports talk, join us at 8:05 Saturday morning for the Saturday Sports Slam right here on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Baseball's opening day is history, and now the long process of a pennant race begins. We'll talk baseball and take your phone calls, too.
The Saturday Sports Slam is brought to you by Rochester Manor and Villa and by J&J Spratt Funeral Home in New Brighton.
So tune in from 8:05 to 10 o'clock Saturday morning for the Saturday Sports Slam right here on Beaver County Radio.
How can you maximize your greatest asset without leaving your home or getting out of your car? By listening to me, Eric McKenna, every Saturday from 10 to noon. As a RE/MAX Advanced Realtor, I've helped lots of people just like you in Beaver County and surrounding areas making the very best moves when it comes to real estate. So find out more by listening to the Eric McKenna Show, sponsored by CallEric.com. For over a year now, heard every Saturday from 10 to noon. Catch it on Facebook Live and on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
No opinions, no interruptions, just news and facts for an hour straight. It's Pat Septak with the Noonday Report every day from noon to 1 on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Gardeners this morning, Don Buffington and Adele Whipple, and lots of different variety of conversations this morning so far. But the big one seems to be, I think a lot of people have moles.
That's the big thing, yeah.
Or know ways to get rid of moles.
They're hungry.
I like the idea of the X-Lax, but like Charlie said, I might have an issue on my hand if the dog got into the yard in the wrong place. So 724-774-1888, 843-1888 if you do have any other questions for Don or Adele. And so this time of year, I'm seeing all this nice fungal on the leaves, and that leaf doesn't look too pretty, that picture you showed me.
No, but that's a fungal growth on the leaves, and I thought those pictures would show you about them. But it's hard to, there's some fungal growths that look like other things, so that's why we like to look at them.
Okay.
Or send them up to the lab. But what's the one fungal growth that it makes the plant look.
Lichen?
No. I'll think of it. I'm an old person.
Well, on the list here, you have one of them. You have is, and it just looks like a section of the bush is dead. You have peony blotch. Is one of them you have on there?
Beanie blotch?
Peony, like a peony.
Oh, peony. I thought you said beanie. Like
no,
the
peony. No, peony.
Peony blotch, yes. Botrytis, yeah.
P as in P.
P as in Patrick. Yeah, that was botrytis. And that looks, they look kind of gray and moldy. And you've got to be careful for that and cut all of that out of there. This is a good time. Like
of course, we don't have any leaves out yet.
Yeah, but I mean, that stuff will be there from last year if they haven't cleaned up the beds.
The big thing is just like in your garden and your plants and stuff, you just have to be observant and spend time looking around at different seasons and so forth. Just like in your fruit trees now, you want to get a pre-emergent dormant oil on your fruit trees before the buds open, because if you put it on after the buds open, you can destroy the buds.
Okay.
So on fruit trees, you want to do that, and if you have any last-minute pruning on them, you hurry up and get that done.
All right. Now, what about, like, when will you start to see it, if there is a problem with, like, tent caterpillars or something like that on a tree? When will you start to see that?
And I noticed it almost immediately in the black cherry.
Okay.
Black cherry?
Yeah, wild cherry.
Yeah, the wild cherries, because they start to bloom, and when dinner's on the table, people come. So when all those insects see that dinner's on the table, as soon as the blossoms are there, you're going to start to see the webbing in the
trees.
What do you call the notches of the trees, crotches of the trees, and don't let them get big because you've got to tear that web down. You can't just spray a web. And don't set it on fire. We used to do that, but don't do that.
If you're going to spray them, you got to break the web open, the web itself, to get into the insects.
Okay.
But spraying on it with the bag there doesn't get into it.
Okay. So don't cut it away from the tree. Just tear it down basically and spray it.
Or you can cut it out of the tree.
Okay.
Depending.
But there's some places you don't want to cut, so
Yeah,
you
right.
just take a stick and tear it all apart. And if you do it while they're wee little, they crawl down
The birds will start getting them too. if they
and
get 'em,
bluebirds and things like that love those little caterpillars and things because that's what they feed the babies. But those little tiny, they crawl down out of the tree through the day, and then they go back up at night and eat everything when you're not looking. So they'll defoliate a tree. So Dawn's right. You got to get out and watch for things. As soon as you notice it, take care of it.
Yeah, that's the thing to do when you first notice it, because sometimes you catch it before it gets out of hand on even your vegetable plants and stuff like that.
Now, when you see trees and things in your yards that might have like a green fungus on them, what would you?
That's lichen.
Okay, and so what would be a care for that?
You don't have to do anything with it. It won't hurt nothing. That's algae and fungus, and they
Okay.
work together, but they do no damage to the plant.
Because if you turn around here on 7th Avenue and look at that tree right behind you, Dawn.
Lots of trees.
See it? Straight across the street, there's a tree that has it on it. Right past the tree there. See it? Oh, right past the tree there. So there's a tree across the street that has
That means you have good air when you have lichen, because it don't like bad air.
Okay, so that's actually a good thing, or
it
doesn't hurt?
Sometimes it's done. People that don't appeal, doesn't appeal to people
Right.
seeing it, but doesn't do any damage or anything.
All right.
It's like avocados. You have to learn to appreciate them.
So if you don't like it, can you take it off the tree, or is that bad to do that?
You have a chance of damaging the bark if you try to get it off.
Okay.
There are, I can't tell you offhand what it is. There are stuff that you can try to get it off with, but the best thing is just leave it alone. I don't bother with it.
Is there any type of funguses or anything that you should be aware of and get it off the tree right away if you see it,
On
or
the
a
trees,
bush?
not so much on trees, but you get the powdery mildew on some of your plants, your flower plants, the phlox and the bee balm, and some of those are very. And even my lilacs get the powdery mildew. So
okay,
you can spray for that if you depending on what how bad it is.
And you could spray peach trees for peach curl.
Yeah, well, for the fruit trees, there's actually a spray schedule.
Yeah.
For all the different fruit trees, that really, if you're going to grow anything to get quality fruit, you need to stick to the spray schedule, and we have those in the office too.
But the aphids begin to hatch as soon as leaves start to open, so you've got to be careful and look for them.
Now, Charlie brought up a very good point with the X-Lax. Are most of these products, are they all pet-friendly? Like if you do have a dog or a cat that's in your yard?
Label.
Read the label.
Okay.
And that's very important. A lot of people just don't read the labels enough. And a story that comes to mind a few years ago, we had a woman call, and she had blue spruce and had spider mites in it. She got stuff and sprayed it. She called in and says, "It turned my blue spruce orange." She wanted to know what to do. I said, "Call the company." I have no idea. The last line on the instruction says, "We'll turn blue spruce orange." She didn't read all the instructions. That's
Gotcha.
why it's important to read them all.
And the instructions are written so small.
Yeah. Well, just another thing. I bought chlorothalonol for my blight on my tomatoes. And, of course, I read the instructions when I got it, and it was fine. And it had all bunch of other vegetables that you could use it on. Well, I got it on my peppers. I thought, well, I'll use the same product. But I said, I'm going to go check the label. It did not cover for peppers. I called the company thinking it might have been a misprint because they had every other. They says, no, we did not research it for peppers. So that's why you got to really read those instructions.
And then you can look around to see if somebody did research it.
Yeah.
So insect-wise, not only can your outdoor plants have types of insects on them, your indoor ones also?
And you have to monitor those as well, because if you have the soil too wet, you're going to get fungus gnats in there. And if it's easier to let things get a little bit dry before you water them. It's safer because they'll tell you when they're too dry.
Mm-hmm.
But outside, there will be the sawfly larvae will be on the mugo pine, and they are very tricky. They'll be starting pretty soon. Then you watch for weevils. That'll be on pine and spruce. Weevil has a little needle nose. It sticks it in and sucks things out. And the boxwoods have psyllids getting them on. There's something trying to kill something all the time.
That's how Mother Nature controls things.
Yeah.
Really.
But Dawn's right. You got to get out there and look.
Okay. I'm still not having any luck with them cactuses. believe it or not.
Oh, no?
Well, and let them dry out like you said to, so they dried out.
On the drier side.
Right. So, but they still, the leaves look like, they almost look like they're wilted up and ready to fall off.
They're withering?
Yeah,
well,
a little
then
bit.
you're not doing enough watering if they start to show wrinkles like in them.
So then I started doing that, and it's still, no matter what I do, I think it just wants to go back outside. It liked it out there last year.
Well, the thing about the Christmas cactus like that, they're easy to start new ones. I mean, there for a while I had 5 of them, and I just took little cuttings and started them. But the only thing is, after they get so big, I was having trouble. Of course, I don't have the right light indoors to keep them, but like you said, outside on the porch, they did well. But when I didn't do well.
Well, the one worked fine. The suggestion Jins gave me, it worked fine. It came back to life, and it's perfect. But the weird thing is, it's not changing. It's not dying anymore, but it's not getting any better.
Well, is it getting enough light?
Yeah.
Enough light in the house?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sits right on the kitchen, on the dining room table, so it gets light. It's in a corner, so it gets light coming in a little bit from each window, but it's not all day long.
Yeah.
I would suspect, how big is the pot that it's in?
It's not real big, maybe like a...
Can you knock it out of that pot and look at the roots and the soil and see what's going on down there? Because
I probably could.
There's a possibility there might be some kind of root critter in there.
I could do that. That's a good suggestion.
And it maybe needs new. How long have you had that one?
Probably about 5 or 6 years.
No, well, you could try repotting it. I mean, new dirt and everything.
Yeah.
Although I have heard cactuses, they put them in a pot and it lasts 75 years. Yeah. So
right.
Just experiment with it.
Right.
Sometimes if the pot's too big, they don't like it. They want
like
to be a little pot bound. So
I figure it's not getting any worse. Yeah. So I'm ahead of the game.
Hand it to the person next door so that you're not worrying it to death, and they will.
It wants to go. It wants to be like me and go sit outside on the deck. Right. That's what it wants.
It wants some benign neglect. So.
All right, guys. How can anybody get a hold of you guys if they need some help with their plants in their yards?
724-774-3003. And for the information we send out to you, there is no charge.
Hey, Don, what's that website?
Website is extension PSU.edu.
And
Nobody
how about
likes a smarty?
And how about I was being nice and informative for him. And what's the Facebook page?
Penn State Master Gardens of Beaver County.
There you go. See,
and
we'll keep it.
Remember this weekend.
We don't get a whole bunch of that stuff. They usually call.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, appreciate you coming in. We'll talk to you again next month. Hopefully, you won't need a raft to get here, and we can get started working on our yard next month.
You won't have to do the electric.
All right. Talk to you then. All right, coming up next on Teleforum this morning, we're going to talk about ladies in Ohio that are suing for their eggs being destroyed. Talk about that, and then also President Trump throughout the morning here, and whatever else you want to talk about in hour number 2 and number 3, as we'll have open talk. 724-774-1888, 843-1888 will be the numbers. You're listening to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WMBA Ambridge.
Townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump suggesting that U.S. foreign aid to Honduras could be cut if a caravan of Central American migrants, primarily from Honduras, isn't stopped before it reaches Mexico's border with the U.S. And taking to Twitter this morning, the president also mentioning NAFTA in his demand that Mexico's government halt the caravan's northward trek. And the administration officials say they're working on a new legislative package that's aimed at closing immigration law loopholes.
Over the last few days, President Trump has been tweeting about immigration and the border. Administration officials are looking at possible ways to address the president's concerns, and Republican lawmakers are being urged to immediately pass a border bill by changing Senate rules if necessary. The president, who declared on Twitter that Congress must act now, is unhappy that the major spending bill he signed last month barely funds his proposed wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Greg Clugston, the White House.
The president's also been tweeting negatively about Amazon in recent days, and that's blamed for a sharp drop in the online giant's stock price, tumbling more than 5% yesterday, has recovered a bit today, though. And in the aftermath of yesterday's big sell-off, Wall Street opened higher this morning. Economist Diane Swonk says the market is unnerved over a possible U.S.-China trade war, among other things.
Underlying, the economy is still good. That's the great news, and that's something we should focus on. But it's also an economy that's got a lot more problems associated with and potential pitfalls as well, and that uncertainty is seeping into financial market psyche.
And looking at the Wall Street numbers at the moment, the Dow is up about 105 points. The NASDAQ Composite Index ahead 13, and the S&P 500 Index is up 5 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You work hard to recruit the best talent for your business, so you understand how important benefits are. Today's candidates are looking for more than just insurance and retirement accounts. They want benefits they can use every day and perks that help them achieve that all-important work-life balance. With Veridesk Standing Desk Solutions, you can create the healthy office culture they're looking for, where employees can move more throughout the day, so they're happier, healthier, and more productive. The new Veridesk ProDesk 60 Electric is the perfect way to create your active workspace. It's a commercial-grade electric standing desk that lets you sit or stand with the touch of a button, and it assembles in under 5 minutes with no need for professional installers or labor costs. The ProDesk 60 Electric ships for free, and thanks to our 30-day guarantee, if you don't love it, we'll pick it up for free. To learn how you can try the ProDesk 60 Electric in your office, visit veridesk.com/radio. That's varidesk.com/radio.
A French railway strike has brought the country's famed high-speed trains to a halt, leaving passengers stranded or scrambling for other options.
The railway company, SNCF, has warned that services will be very disrupted, with the high-speed TGV running 12% of its scheduled services and 4/5 of regional trains cancelled. Eurostar is expected to run 3/4 of its services. They'll be joined in strikes today by refuse workers, students and parts of the energy sector. Railway unions plan to strike 2 days out of every 5 until the end of June to protest against President Macron's plans to change their job status and benefits. It's the biggest standoff so far between France's unions and its reforming president, with Mr. Macron seen by many in the movement as the man who wants to break the power of the unions.
That's the BBC's Lucy Williamson in Paris. News and analysis at townhall.com. A huge Confederate battle flag now flies just off of a major highway outside of Charlottesville.
A group called the Virginia Flaggers says it raised the 30 by 50-foot flag Saturday on private property just off Interstate 64. The flagpole is 120 feet high. The group calls the flag the Charlottesville I-64 Spirit of Defiance Memorial Battle Flag. It says the flag is a response to the city of Charlottesville's vote to remove statues of Confederate Generals Robert E. Lee and Thomas Stonewall Jackson. The controversy over the statues helped draw protests that culminated in a white nationalist rally in August that turned deadly. The organization says it's raised more than 24 Confederate flags since 2013. Keith Peters reporting.
Spotify about to find out whether investors view its music streaming service as a budding superstar or just a flash in the pan. The company making its stock market debut today. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Beaver County's radio news source, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Here's Pat Septak.
And good morning. We are up a degree from last hour. We're currently at 42 degrees in Beaver County on this Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. The Beaver County weather forecast calling for periods of rain today, thunderstorms possible, and a high of 63 degrees. I'll have that complete Beaver County weather forecast for you coming up right after this look at news. A Center Township road project is put on hold after the township receives a rejection letter from PennDOT. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano has the story.
Center Township received a rejection letter from PennDOT. It was announced at last night's meeting. A road project that won't be done until next spring in Center Township hit a snag when PennDOT sent the township a letter. Modifications for the multimodal grant will be sent to PennDOT. Ned Mitrovich, Township Engineer, said that the state received 22 applications for the $5 million grant. U-Haul has to apply for a conditional use hearing before they proceed at the site of the former Macy's, which they purchased last year. Planning Director Frank Vecchio said, "We don't know what the uses will be." Solicitor Nicholas York was instructed to contact U-Haul in Pittsburgh. This is Sandy Giordano reporting for WBBP WMBA Beaver County.
Authorities say a Pittsburgh couple ran a brothel out of a residence where 3 young children live. Ingram police say 26-year-old Brittany Patrick and her 27-year-old boyfriend, Lucas Trout, both face child endangerment charges. Patrick is also charged with prostitution, while Trout also faces a conspiracy charge. A man hit by a car Sunday in Lawrence County is in the hospital with serious injuries. According to Union Township Police, the man was walking in the road when he was hit by a car. Police say the man was making his way home from work. The accident happened just after 11 p.m. on Route 224. Police say no one will be cited. And court officials say distracted driving citations in Pennsylvania jumped by 52% last year and have increased 172% since 2013. Nearly 7 in 10 citations were issued to men, and more than a third were to people in their 20s. A 2012 state law lets police pull over motorists they suspect of texting while driving. State law prohibits texting while driving, subjecting violators to a fine of $50. It's also illegal to drive while wearing headphones. Our newscast this hour being brought to you by Complete Family Vision Care, keeping an eye on your community since 1985. Visit myvisioncare.com. Complete Family Vision Care with 5 locations to serve you. We'll check the Beaver County weather forecast right after this.
Do you experience any of the following symptoms? Dry eyes, crustiness of the lids, itching, lids stuck together in the morning. You may suffer from a condition called blepharitis. Blepharitis can affect how your eyes feel as well as your vision. At Complete Family Vision Care, they offer new revolutionary treatment for blepharitis. Schedule your exam at Complete Family Vision Care to see if you are a candidate for this treatment. It only takes a few minutes. That's Complete Family Vision Care. More doctors, more hours, and more locations. Or online at myvisioncare.com.
Here's the Beaver County forecast from 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Periods of rain today, thunderstorms possible and a high of 63. Tonight, more thunderstorms likely, overnight low of 43. And Wednesday, showers in the morning, then continued cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour, a high near 50. Currently it is 42 degrees in Beaver County.
Here's what's going on in your town. A look at the Community Bulletin Board on WBVP and WMBA.
It's the Tee Off for Kids golf outing May 18th at the Blackhawk Golf Course. All the proceeds to benefit Adoption Connection PA, and they will go to helping fund homes for waiting children. Cost is $90. Shotguns start at 9 a.m. Registration begins at 7:30 a.m. You can also register online at adoptionconnectionpa.org. And that is a look at the news. Our next full report coming up at the bottom of the hour at 10:30. I'm Pat Septak for Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA News.
You know, that's interesting in that story you did with the texting and the driving, the distracted driving.
Yeah? What about it?
It's interesting. I found out a couple years ago that I didn't know that it was actually illegal to drive with headphones in.
You know what? I didn't know that either.
And do you know why it's illegal?
Well, yeah, because you can't hear sounds.
Right. Can't hear emergency person.
Yeah,
emergency
you can't hear
vehicles,
somebody's
ambulances.
beeping, whatever. Yeah, but I'm like you. I didn't know that was illegal.
So how many times do you drive down the street and you see somebody with them white headphones hanging out their ear?
That's right.
I see it all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Not knowing it's illegal, and I think a lot of people don't understand that it's illegal.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I had learned that a couple years ago. I saw it on TV, and they were saying why, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Now I do have to say I watched this show on NBC. And I just watched last Thursday's episode last night, so bear with me a little bit. I do what most of America does. We don't want to see the TV ads. So we do, and we had this conversation yesterday a little bit during lunch. I don't know if you were down there yet. A lot of people DVR things so they can just watch through and don't have to see the commercials.
Right, right.
So now the new thing they do is when you watch something on demand, they don't allow you to fast forward through the commercials. So yeah, so you can't. Fast forwarding is disabled, so you're kind of stuck watching the commercials.
Wow.
But so that's why I DVR everything, and then I go back, and so eventually I'm sure they'll figure that out too. But anyways, we watch a show that's kind of based on a big box store we all know, and this is called Superstore, and it's this company called Cloud9, fictitious, and they do they deal with different workplace things that might occur, whether it be from sexual harassment, whether it be to employees falling in love, whether it be to some lady that's in her 90s working there, so on and so forth. So it has a different variety. It deals with everything from age discrimination to race discrimination to a guy in a wheelchair. So, disabled discrimination. It deals with heavy-set employees. It deals with skinny employees. So they take everything in this big realm of this show.
Yeah, yeah.
And they even have a ditz on there. And when you were talking about the driving and everything, it reminded me of this girl last night that was on there, and she said that they were talking about driving and stuff, and she said she was a horrible driver, but she said, I'm great at texting and driving. And I'm like, oh, that's real good to say. And basically what it was about was more or less the episode was about age discrimination.
Yeah.
And there was this older lady that was in her 90s or something like that. I think her name's Myrtle. And the new district manager came in and said because she's been there so long and makes $20 an hour that they have to fire her. Well, they were all fighting for her, even though she does, and they all said, she does nothing here, but we can't fire her. So they're all fighting for her job. Well, meanwhile, in the end, they ended up having to get rid of her, so they let her drive a big delivery truck around the parking lot, which is what she always wanted to do.
Sure.
So you can't even see this older lady, and she's looking at, you can't even see her out the windshield of the truck. But it ends up the truck's on its side, and that's where the girl goes. She goes, well, I'm a horrible driver like that, but I'm really good at texting driving, though. But it's a good show. So if you're ever looking for a show, it's a comedy, but yet it deals with all the issues of a workplace, and it's a very good show. It's called Cloud9.
Cloud9.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and there's this one part, and I want to know if anybody watches it. They have to tell me this if they watch it. Am I the only one that notices? There's this one girl on there. Her name's Amy. Okay.
Okay.
And every week they change her name tag to something different. Like last week, her name was Kim. But her name's still Amy on the show, but they change her name tag every week an episode's on. She has a different name tag with a different name on it.
Oh, really?
And I don't know, and the tags look just like the ones at Walmart. I mean, their employee tags look just like them.
Yeah.
So you could tell that, too, they're spoofing on,
Sure.
But the bottom line, like I said, it's funny, and I'm just curious if they're waiting for somebody to say, hey, how come you keep changing your name tag every week or what? But, I'm at a point where I want to write NBC a letter and say, why do you guys change her name tag every week? Is it like just for fun? Is it something she wants to do? Because that would be something that I would do.
Yeah.
Just for giggles, I'd change my name on my name tag every week. So
knowing you, that is something you do.
Yeah. So it deals with like people falling in love at work, but yet you're married at home. It deals with people fond of each other. It deals with people that were in a relationship, but somebody new's in a relationship. So if you think of it, if you can think of it having to deal with a workplace, like a big workplace like that, they usually deal with that issue.
Huh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a pretty good show. It's a nice comedy.
All right.
So check it out.
All right.
You'll like it. I promise.
Okay.
All right. What's going on for lunch today?
Probably a turkey sub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm having ham and potato salad.
Is this leftover ham?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we didn't have lunch yesterday. We did. We had lunch from Robert's Roadside yesterday. He brought us all those great wings and all that good food yesterday.
That was good. That was a good lunch.
Yeah, as always, from Robert's, no doubt. So we had that yesterday, so I didn't eat leftovers yesterday. So I had leftovers for dinner instead, and, and I couldn't bring the cabbage and noodles because I ate all that already.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
all
so
right.
that's one of my favorites. So anyway, I ended up with potato salad and ham.
There you go.
All right, buddy. Well, you go enjoy your lunch. We'll talk to you at the bottom of the hour.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Lily, how are you today?
I'm fine, dear. How are you?
Good. How was your Easter?
It was really good, thank God. I'm living.
How'd that dish work out your husband was going to make? Was it okay? Did it turn out okay?
Yeah, it turned out really good.
Okay.
His lamb shanks, they turned out good.
Good.
Yeah.
So what's up
Thank
today?
God. Well, what's up is, did you see the new fad that's going around, or the excitement these kids are doing on Google?
No.
Oh, dear God, honey. They're taking condoms, and they're sucking them up their nose.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, go on Google. It will show you.
Oh, that's...
And a couple of the kids, it said that went down their throat and they were choking. They should have let them choke. I think these kids in school are all nuts. And the teachers want raises, but I don't think the teachers, some of them, don't deserve them, because why don't you tell the kids it's not right to do?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you have Oklahoma, you have, I want to say it was like 20,000 teachers have walked out statewide in Oklahoma. And and you see these things, Tide Pods.
I'm sorry to get ahead of you, honey. And then they leave that kid, F. Lorenzo, or whatever they're calling him, because he's rich and he's out of jail now. I think look in the eyes and you're going to see how bad their souls are. And then there's another thing that was on Google. Listerine, the GY men. You know what GY men is?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to say the words.
Right.
But anyways, they are buying the Listerine so they can clean their mouth so they don't get gonorrhea.
Yeah, I did see that. That's nasty.
Dear Lord.
No.
What's going on? There's something wrong. I think the kids are nuts. I really do think there's a worm in people's brains.
Well, you know what, Lily? The kids in school can just show them just to take Tide Pods and that'll wash your mouth out.
Yeah. They what?
Use the Tide Pods. Remember the Tide Pods? That was the big thing with the kids a couple weeks ago. They were eating the Tide Pods as a challenge, so you could just instead of using Listerine, use Tide
There's
Pods.
something wrong with them, really.
Yeah.
I told my husband, if my daughter or son, I catch them doing that, believe me, baby, there's no nut houses around here anymore. Dixmont, it's gone. But they would be taken right to that nut house, and I'd leave them there.
302 them, huh?
God, yeah, right, baby. 302 them. The cops wouldn't have to do it. I'd do it.
All right, Lily.
Hey, listen, you have a good day today, honey.
You do the same.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for calling. See ya.
A Sunday afternoon at the ballpark during the first Kids' Day of the season on Sunday, April 8th at 1:35 when the Buccos take on the Reds. Head to the ballpark early for fun and games on Federal Street in the #1 Cochran Family Fun Zone. All kids 14 and younger will take home a Pirates Raised a Jolly Roger rally towel. Then after the game, kids get to come down onto the field and run the bases. Head to PNC Park Sunday, April 8th for the first Kids' Day of the season. Go to pirates.com/kidsdays.
Join 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA at the 41st Annual Maple Syrup Festival at Braves Run Park this weekend, April 7th and 8th. Look for the famous BVP and NBA prize van on Saturday from 10 to 4 and on Sunday from 1 to 4. The Maple Syrup Festival offers continuous entertainment, vendors and craft displays, antique farm equipment, and more. Plus, it's free admission. Adults and children are welcome, but please leave the pets at home. Meal tickets are just $9 for adults and $5 for children. The 41st Annual Maple Syrup Festival is sponsored by the Beaver County Conservation District Board of Directors, staff, and employees, and co-sponsored by their volunteers. Free shuttle service is provided by Ferguson Transportation. Broadcast coverage is brought to you by West Banco, Marbles Restaurant and Tavern, J&J Spratt Funeral Home, Nautical Academics, Canoes Body Works, Bonnie August Florals, Diamond Milling, Vita Health and Wellness, Monaca Auto Sales, J. Young's Refuse, Al's Corner, Danbox Lake Forest Gardens, The Corner Grill, and Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
WBVP and WMBA invite you to tune in to Sounds of Faith. Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 as WBVP and WMBA present Sounds of Faith, a mix of best sacred music of all time. Sounds of Faith is brought to you by Crawford Tire in Beaver, City Rescue Mission, MRS Physical Therapy, William Murphy Funeral Home Incorporated, and Rome Monument in Inspirational Gifts. Sounds of Faith, uplifting, relaxing, and inspirational radio. Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 on WBVP and WMBA.
Tune in at 1230 WBVP and 1460 WNBA this Thursday morning from 9:10 to 10 a.m. because it's time to Ask the Commissioners. Brought to you by Huntington Bank, the Brighton Health Mart Pharmacy, West Banco, NIRA Consulting Engineers creating great futures by design. Visit NIRAengineers.com. Sandy Egley, Daniel Camp, and Tony Amadeo will be live in the WBVP WNBA studio to field your questions. That's right, just tune in this Thursday from 9:10 to 10 a.m. and call 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888 and ask the commissioners yourself on WBVP and WNBA.
The Jobpreneurs Agency has been around helping taxpayers who are frustrated with the tax laws for 68 years and counting. The oldest tax firm in Beaver County has won awards for the best tax preparation in the county. Let the Jobpreneurs Agency get you the largest refunds. If you're one of those taxpayers who always owe the IRS, talk to the Jobpreneurs Agency and we'll help you reduce what you are paying to the IRS. Call today and make an appointment at 724-266-4100.
1230 WBVP and 1460 WNBA.
It is 10:22 here in Beaver County, and it is a coming down this morning. So make sure that you're, please be careful ponding. You know, just because it's not cold out, still can have ponding water on the roadways, and that could allow for, a little bit of hydroplaning. So just be careful out there with all this standing water and everything. It's 42 degrees right now here in Beaver County at 10:23.
Good morning.
George,
Jim.
What's up?
Did you have a blessed Easter?
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I'm sick in bed.
Oh!
Yeah.
You can't kick us, can you?
No. It's driving me nuts, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And Judy woke up this morning, her jaw's all swelled up. She has a bad tooth or something in her.
Uh-oh.
Anyways, enough of my complaints. You know what? I am so saddened that these young generation snowflakes growing up is going to rule our nation in the future. The only thing I can say is God help us. God help us, please. It seems like they're going to be a modern Sodom and Gomorrah if they keep this attitude up that they have, and they want to take my rights away from me. We got to be taking their rights away from them right now. You parents and you grandparents out there. Get these children, correct them, teach them the proper way. Please, folks, please, before they ruin our country and ruin themselves above all.
Well, like I've said before, George, and I'll say it again, I still say, and it's not popular to say it, but I still say that we allow our children to have too much say.
Yes, we do.
When I was
growing up, we was to be seen and not heard from.
Well, yeah.
Unless it was some kind of emergency or something, We didn't butt in our adults' conversations. We listened, and if they wanted to talk about something else, we had to go in the bedroom or outside or whatever,
Right. Well, 9 times out of 10, you just had to sit there and listen to what their conversation was and keep your mouth shut. But, I mean, what I mean by that is, when the children go to school, they should be going to school to learn.
Exactly.
If you would go into a public school at this point in time, you would probably cringe at what goes on and the way it goes on. All power has basically been taken away from teachers, where they can't do anything. So a lot of times kids get away with things because a teacher's worried about their job, so they'd rather just let them get away with it than have to worry about later on down the road being accused of something and possibly end up losing their job over it. So,
well, you know what? There's one way of trying to solve some of this. I think when there's a child out there that's unruly and not disciplined, I think that parents ought to be brought in, sit in class, and see what Johnny and Susie does in there.
Well,
see what their children's doing.
See, I don't agree.
I called the high school, Amherst High School.
Mm-hmm.
As a taxpayer, I wanted to sit in and listen to some of these classes and that. I wasn't allowed. I'm a taxpayer supporting these children, and I can't go in and see what they're being taught and see how these children are reacting to our teachers.
The problem is,
there's got to be a stop to this somewhere.
The problem is, George, you and I and other parents would look at that and we would want to do that. And what I would do is I wouldn't let them be in the classroom. I would let them have no knowledge, let their child have no knowledge that they are in the classroom, and have them, whether it be in the principal's office or somewhere else.
Even video cameras.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. And let them watch what's going on in the classroom. You think Johnny or Susie is a superstar. Now, granted, this isn't every kid in the world.
No.
But you
All
think
it takes
Johnny
is
or
one bad apple to ruin the whole bush.
well,
you know?
so you bring them in and you let them see exactly what's going on in the classroom, without the child knowing that you're seeing, because the kid goes home and everybody thinks that and that's everybody. That's a normal parent thing. You think your kid's, oh, well, that can't be my kid. But then when your back's turned, you don't know. And there are so many good kids out there that have been raised the right way, but there are also a lot of them, George, and you have to admit that parents would actually not care if you took them in and let them see what their kid's doing in class. They're more worried about what their life is about. And to me, that's more of what the problem is today, is the fighting. These children, some of these children and things like that, they're fighting for attention. They're starving for attention because they're not getting it at home. And I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just talking about a select few whose parents think it's more fun to have party time and not worry about what Sally or Billy are doing.
Right.
And these kids are starving for attention. And that's part of it, in my opinion. And that's why they act out in class and do some of the things they do. But I still believe to this day, children have too much of a voice in our society, and we let it go. Now, they have their right. They have their right to their opinions, and they have a right to say things. But when we can have a high school kids that are doing what they're doing right now, and obviously, and I'll say this over and over, and people will argue with me, there is no way that these kids in Parkland, Florida, are arranging all this themselves. Somebody's there helping them, and people say, "Well, they're parents." No.
There's something deeper involved here.
This is all too professionally. Well, I could see, but this was all too professionally arranged. The whole way down to the march and everything was
Just
all.
listen to their speeches, how they talk. They talk like they're that one boy son. He acts like he was John Kennedy.
Well, he's accused of being an actor. They say that there's some other places and other things that he actually events that have happened that he's actually showed up in the forefront before. So there's accusations out there that he's actually an actor and he's not truly a student that was at Parkland, Florida.
I can believe that.
Truth or not, I don't know, but I can say this: there's no way that those kids, and this is fact in my opinion, there is no way that these kids could arrange it this professionally. I could see. We see it here locally. Kids get together and they, whether something happened and they want to talk about, a loved one has cancer or a friend or something. I can see them putting together things like that. Okay. Right. But this was all too professionally done the whole way down to the march that these kids in Parkland, Florida did this themselves. There's no way.
Too politically involved.
Yep. There's no way. And
I
just
agree
like
with you 100% on that, I'll tell you.
Just like the march here in Beaver County. Okay. Now, I'm taking nothing away from nobody, so please, nobody be offended. It was said straight out, this is not a political thing, right? Okay. This is not political. But yet you've had somebody running for representative there. You had the mayor of a town running for county commissioner there, supporting, and that's fine. But guess what the main thing they're chanting is?
Political.
Well, but guess what they're chanting? It's not supposed to be political.
Yep.
But they say you can change it through vote, right? So they're chanting vote, 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 vote. Well, if this isn't political, then what is?
Yes, exactly right, exactly.
So?
Another thing I noticed, I go to the restaurants in June, I step out, family-oriented restaurants, and not bars and stuff, but family restaurants and stuff. I have yet, except maybe twice in the last 5 years, seen parents and the children bowing their head and blessing their food before they consume it. I don't see this. Another thing really irritates me. I've been in Lawrence County. I've been in Beaver County. I've been in Allegheny County. I've been in Butler County. And I'll tell you what, I never seen such filthy, filthy, filthy highways.
3-4-800.
Pardon me?
Go ahead.
Debris all over the on the berms of the highways.
Right.
That's disrespectful to our country and our state.
Right.
There was a nurse when I went in the ER room. She told me, George, God help us. She says, I'm going to die before I get to the point where these snowflakes are going to go ahead and take care of me.
Right.
She says, I hope I die before that.
Yep. All right.
I said, I said, I don't want to die, but I says, some way I've sentiments the same as you feel,
Right.
But we got to do something. We got to do something. You know what? Just like I stated before, we're getting a second chance in our nation. Please, Grandma, parents, do something with your children. Please, teach them for God Almighty's sake. Teach these children the right way. That's all I have to say.
All right, buddy.
I'll keep preaching this till the day I die, I guess.
All right, Georgie, have a great day, buddy.
Okay, you too, and bless you all.
Oh, same
Bye-bye
to you.
now.
Bye-bye.
Beaver County's radio news source, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Here's Pat Septak.
Well, good morning. 42 degrees in Beaver County on this Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. The Beaver County weather forecast calling for periods of rain, thunderstorms possible, and a high of 63 degrees. We begin our newscast with an update now on the Aliquippa man who's going to trial for assault. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano has the latest.
An Aliquippa man was arrested on March 25th by Aliquippa police after he assaulted a woman holding an infant in the city. Rudolph E. Davis faces charges of aggravated assault, endangering the welfare of a child, 2 counts of simple assault and harassment, and reckless endangerment, 2 counts. The pre-trial conference is May the 23rd, and that trial is set for September 4th in Beaver County Court. This is Sandy Giordano reporting for WBBP WMBA Beaver County.
A Midland couple is facing a number of charges for allowing a juvenile to live in their home in horrible conditions. According to police, 62-year-old Robert McDowell and 52-year-old Anna Holben were charged with endangering the welfare of a child, corruption of minors, and simple assault. Police were called to the residence in connection with the couple fighting. When officers went inside the home, they found it in deplorable condition. Bond for both was set at $5,000. Women's rights attorney Gloria Allred has agreed to represent 3 women who lost eggs when an Ohio fertility clinic storage tank malfunctioned. Allred said at a news conference in Cleveland on Monday that her clients are cancer survivors who delayed chemotherapy to undergo fertility treatments at the clinic run by university hospitals. She says mistreatment of women is wrong anytime, but especially in such an intimate and personal part of life. The clinic said last week that an alarm system was turned off on a storage tank that malfunctioned in early March and ruined more than 4,000 eggs and embryos. Several lawsuits have been filed against university hospitals. The judge in Bill Cosby's sexual assault retrial has delivered 2 major victories to the comedian's legal defense. Judge Stephen O'Neill ruled Tuesday that a woman who says his accuser was out for money can testify. He also ruled that the jury can hear the amount of the settlement that Cosby reached with his accuser. Cosby's defense has laid out their plan to portray the accuser as a greedy liar who framed the comedian to get rich. Many schools are closing for a second day in Oklahoma as teachers rally for higher pay and more education funding. Thousands of Oklahoma educators walked out of classrooms Monday in the latest evidence of teacher rebellion in some Republican-led states. Teachers also protested Monday in Kentucky to voice dissatisfaction with a pension revision. Medicare is sending out new identification cards that no longer display enrollees' Social Security numbers. We get more on that story now from Andrea Sears in Harrisburg.
Residents will be among the first to receive the new cards that assign each person a randomly generated 11-digit number. Joanne Grossi, president of AARP Pennsylvania, points out that Social Security numbers are the keys for access to personal financial records, medical information, and legal documents. So if a card with a Social Security number on it was ever lost or stolen, the enrollee could easily fall victim to identity theft.
Every time you're giving over that personal Social Security number, it's an opportunity for either an individual or a hacker to use it for opening credit cards or getting a loan.
She says once the new card arrives, the old card should be destroyed. But if you're on a Medicare Advantage or a Part D prescription plan, those are separate, so be sure to keep those cards. I'm Andrea Sears reporting.
And I know the first part of that report got cut off. They mentioned that Andrea Sears, that is, mentioned that those that it will be Pennsylvania residents who will be among those receiving those new identification cards in the mail. Now, unlike Bill O'Reilly, Laura Ingraham will be returning to Fox News after her vacation, despite an exodus of advertisers turned off by the controversy surrounding her attack on Parkland school shooting survivor David Hogg. More than a dozen sponsors, including Expedia, Nestle, and Hulu, pledged to pull their ads from the Ingraham angle after calls for a boycott, and many more are believed to be steering clear of that program. Fox News co-president Jack Abernethy tells the Los Angeles Times, "We cannot and will not allow voices to be censored by agenda-driven intimidation efforts. We look forward to having Laura Ingraham back hosting her program next Monday when she returns from spring vacation with her children." End quote. O'Reilly's sponsors deserted him before he was fired by Fox amid sexual harassment allegations. Now the Beaver County weather forecast. Periods of rain today. Thunderstorms possible, a high of 63. Then tonight, more thunderstorms likely, an overnight low of 43. And for Wednesday, showers in the morning, then continued cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour, a high near 50. Currently it is 42 degrees in Beaver County. And that is a look at the news. Our next full report coming up at the top of the hour, beginning at 11:05. I'm Pat Septak for Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA News.
All right, we're back here on Teleform. Thanks, Pat, for the news. And we'll get back to taking your phone calls. 724-774-1888, 843-1888. And one of the big things, we're talking a little bit this morning about trends, because that's exactly what these kids are doing. That's the trend now. And Matt even said he come in and we were talking a little bit during the news, and he said he was talking about it this morning. And what will be the next trend? We had the Tide Pods, now we have kids sucking condoms up their nose. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And, like Matt said, he's 100% correct. He said this in the break, and he is 100% correct. You bring light to it. People are talking about it. It's all over the news. And all you're doing is making them do it more. What's happening today?
Frank. You're talking about, Georgie was talking about people with parents and grandparents doing things, getting the kids straight. Boy, I agree with that 100%. But the reason I'm calling is you had a lady on named Tony did Easter eggs. I think her name was Tony.
Okay.
I missed the boat on being a good person like she is. As long as there's people like that doing what she's doing, there's hope.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I mean that's just the way. There are good people.
Oh,
they don't get credit. The people who does things wrong is the people we talk about.
Exactly. Precisely.
And she's doing something really great, and I admire her to death. I mean, my goodness, good for her. She's made out of the right stuff. I'm like a lot of other people. I should have did a lot more good in my life than she's out there doing it. And that says a lot to me. He's not a phony.
Right. Well, and again, there are so many good kids that are out there. There's so many good people that are out there. It's just there's those, like you said, there are those select few that want to be rebellious, that want to, they take things overboard. And, and those are the ones, unfortunately, that give the rest of the children a bad name. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Because, like I say, as long as there's people out there doing things and follow through, the parents took their kids to the Easter egg hunt, and there's other things that they can do with those kids as they grow up. And as long as people follow through with that, you're going to probably end up with a pretty good kid.
Well, and I think Frank, you're hitting it the nail right on the head. And what I mean by that is, you hit it with family time. And again, a lot of times when you see a lot of youth that are troubled and having problems, their family's not a whole big part of their life. Now, there are ones that are. There are also kids whose families aren't a big part of their lives and are great kids. But the majority of the time, those children are crying out for some type of attention because they're not getting that attention at home. You know,
if you use that Easter egg hunt just for an example, if you're a little kid, you that's kids are like grown-ups. When they're out there doing something like that, they're forgetting all their cares. They're out there to have fun.
Right.
And if you raise a kid, say, if you don't behave, you're not going to the Easter egg hunt.
Right.
And you use that a little bit, as leverage. And, you get that kid to look forward to something. Then you got something. But if that kid has nothing to look forward to, he's going to do the dumb stuff.
Well, I mean, that's something that's, from a very young age we were all taught, Frank, was, when we were taught how to, how to act correctly like we do, there was always a reward at the end of the tunnel usually. And that is, that maybe that's a way of getting back to the basics with some of these kids that are troubled. Maybe that might be the way to go with it. I don't know. I mean, I'm game for anything at this point because there's so much trouble with some of these children, and I don't like seeing any child having any problems. I don't like to sit here and talk about the fact that this kid was bad in school, or their parents need to sit here and watch actually how they act in school, or even to make statements that say, hey, you know what, some parents just don't care what Junior's doing in school, and that's the truth. But it's not every parent. There's a lot of great parents out there. And obviously we saw that over, like you're talking about with this Easter egg hunt. If you would have seen the crowd in Beaver for that Easter egg hunt that day, we have a lot of parents who care about their kids and like to spend time with their kids, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And there's no agenda to it as far as you go there and you have fun, and there's nobody else talking about anything else but having fun.
Yep, you forget everything in the world.
Yeah, you forget everything in the world. They're not talking about God, and they're not talking about what's going on here or what we're gonna try to do here, or blah blah blah.
Yep.
It's one thing: go and have fun. You forget about everything else.
That's why now Scott Tatey, you know who Scott is, right? Does Notes on Entertainment with me.
Okay.
All right. Scott had an article in the paper the other day, and the article talked about this new hotel that's in Pittsburgh, and what you can do when you check in. You check in literally by checking in any type of electronic device, from a cell phone to tablets to whatever. And you spend the night there, and they have quality things for you to spend with your family or your loved one or whatever, where they provide games. There's no television. There's no nothing. Games and radio. It's in Pittsburgh. It's the Renaissance Hotel in Pittsburgh. And that's it. So you either sit there and play games together. You don't have any social media. You don't have television. You have nothing. So it's quality time. I love the idea. But I told Scott we need to open a restaurant like that and then have, live groups play at it.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You forget about everything else. You forget about politics. You forget about religion. And I'm not saying religion's bad. I'm not saying politics is bad.
Right.
There's a time to walk away and take a respite from it and think about yourself.
Exactly.
And and having a little relaxation and peace of mind.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%, no doubt. So,
yeah.
All right, buddy.
Like I say, you had those other people on from. They were helping veterans and stuff, and they don't turn anybody away. Like I said, I missed the boat on those people out there actually doing something.
Right. That was the shelter.
And I just can't commend them enough. I mean, my goodness. That's the way things are supposed to be. It's like watching a Roy Rogers or Gene Autry movie. It's the way things are supposed to be.
Right. Well, there's a lot of people out there like that there's a lot of good in this world, Frank, and there's a whole lot of evil also, buddy.
Oh yeah, I'm going to tell you something, Frank. I'm afraid. I hate to say this, but I'm afraid of bad guys.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I'm just as afraid of the good guys.
Yeah, well, you know.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yep. Oh, I do.
I'm afraid of the bad guys, and I am afraid of the good guys.
Yep. There's a lot of people that are that way.
Yep.
So, all right, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Frank.
All right, you have a great day, Frank.
You too.
All right, buddy. See ya.
At WesBanco, you'll find a full-service financial institution offering almost every financial option you'll ever need. Because WesBanco is a community-based bank, you're sure to get the personalized service and attention you deserve from people who live and work right in your neighborhood. Bottom line, WesBanco combines top-tier products with superior customer service from people you can trust. Visit any of our 38 local banking centers or visit us at www.westbanco.com to see how WesBanco can help you achieve your financial goals. WesBanco, Inc. is a member of FDIC.
History is one of the greatest treasures. There are many reasons that historical coins and jewelry are worth so much money. Young's Jewelry and Coins in Rochester wants you to know that there are several reasons for this. For one thing, they represent a period of time or are maybe even associated with an event or memory. In addition, scarcity plays a big part in determining value, and that over the years there are fewer and fewer of the item around. And lastly, material value. Depending on what the item is made of will have value alone. Gold, platinum, and silver are examples of precious metals that have high value regardless of what form it is in. That's why Young's Jewelry and Coins is always buying your old broken unwanted jewelry coins and collectibles. Even if nobody else wants it anymore, Young's will still give you cash today for the value of what it's made of. It pays to learn your history, especially when it comes to getting historically high prices for your gold, silver, platinum, or certain collectibles from Young's Jewelry and Coins. History teaches us that smart people shop at Young's Jewelry and Coins in Rochester. Visit youngsjewelry.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Beaver County has a lot going for it, and Beaver County Radio is proud to introduce a new host and a new show to the airways designed to focus on the strengths of the local community and highlight positive things going on in the area. This is Jim Taddeo, host of Jim Tadeo's Hometown, the new program that airs on Saturdays from 12:30 to 1:30. Tune in to find out more Saturdays starting at 12:30, right here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
The back-to-back Stanley Cup champions are on Beaver County Radio.
Kessel getting the buck of Morgan. Back to Kessel in front of Morgan. Hey! Joseph scores! Getting Morgan finishes it. Oh, give me back my old Cadillac.
Follow the Penguins all season long with local coverage presented by Rochester Manor and Villa, Roberts Roadside Inn, St. Barnabas Beaver Meadows Apart from the Ordinary, Suman Automotive, and Beaver County Radio, WBVP, and WMBA.
Tune in each and every Saturday from 1:30 to 5 p.m. for Solid Gold Saturday Afternoon with Bob Fry for the best in oldies in Beaver County and the surrounding area. That's Saturdays from 1:30 to 5. Bob Fry, Solid Gold Saturday Afternoon here on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Here in Beaver County under rainy skies. Coming out pretty good here in Beaver Falls. 42 degrees is the current temperature. Today's forecast is calling for periods of rain with some thunderstorms possible a little bit later on this afternoon. The high is going to be up to 63 degrees today. Tonight, thunderstorms likely throughout the evening and overnight tonight. The low is going to be down to only 43 degrees. And then tomorrow, we're going to have showers in the morning and then continue cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally reach gusts over 50 miles an hour, so get out there and tie down those garbage cans and take down anything, flags or decorative flags or anything that you don't want to blow away so that you don't have any damage caused to anything. Going to be a little windy. Like I said, it's currently 42 degrees at 10:50 here in Beaver County. Coming up tonight, today is Tuesday, so we've got nothing for you today, sports-wise. Coming up at 12 o'clock will be the Noonday Report with Pat Septak. Diane Brocious will be back in the house with Yankee Trader. This is also Tuesday, so you know what that means. Bargain shop today on the Yankee Trader. on Beaver County Radio at 1:45 today. Now, coming up tomorrow, Pirates off today, 4-0 start. Gotta like it. Gotta like it. Gotta fix this bullpen because Pirates get out the good lead. The starter gets a little tired, and the bullpen seems to let the other team back in the game and bite your fingernails a little bit till we get there. But the Bucks, one of a few teams left with a undefeated record at this point. They're 4-0. They'll take on the Twins in the final game of the two-game series. A little earlier than normal. Pirates games usually start 7:05. This one will start at 6:05 tomorrow. 5:40 is airtime here on Beaver County Radio. And then on Thursday, Penguins, after a few days off, after taking their lumps from the Washington Capitals on Sunday night, the Capitals clinched the series. The Penguins will be back at it as they travel to Columbus and take on the Blue Jackets in Columbus. 6:30 is airtime for that game. 7 o'clock is will be puck drop from Columbus on the Penguins on Thursday. So then Friday, Quigley Classics back in the house. It's that time of year. Yes, the end of the girls and boys basketball season. The girls Quigley Classic will be airtime 6:15 with the game scheduled for 6:30, and then the boys game will immediately follow. Pirates baseball tomorrow. We'll have Jake Ordizzi taking on Ivan Nova on the mound. This will be Ordizzi's first start of the year. And as we know, Nova, a little rough outing last week, 3.60 ERA with 4 strikeouts against Detroit in the opener for the season. So that'll get you all started on what's coming up here on Beaver County Radio with Pirates baseball, Penguins hockey, and high school sports. And don't forget on Saturday mornings, Matt Durzik, Greg Benedetti. They'll get you set up 8 to 10 a.m. Saturday Sports Slam. Saturday Sports Slam will be on the road as Matt Durzik will be out at Beaver County Maple Syrup Festival, the 41st Maple Syrup Festival this weekend. Eric McKenna will also be live from the Maple Syrup Festival, as well as Jim Taddeo with Jim Tadeo's hometown. Diane Brocious will be out there from 1 to 4 with Matt on Saturday. So stop out, say hi, spin the prize wheel. Also on Sunday, Pat Septak will be out there, and he'll be with Diane Brocious again, and they'll be there from 1 to 4 on Sunday. So stop out and say hi to them. They'll have the prize wheel going. Lots of great prizes to give away on the prize wheel at Beaver County Radio. So stop out and spin our personality prize wheel and just stop by and say hi. All right, so we've been talking this morning. Phone lines are open, 724-774-1888 and 843-1888. A little bit about kids, respect, parents. And, you know, it's a shame when something does occur. It doesn't matter if it has to do with kids, adults. You know, we could even throw that example into sports. You know, for example, the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers can't stand each other, right? Well, the whole Philadelphia, if you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, if you play for Philly, you stink. End of conversation. I hate you. I don't like you. Period, right? Well, and that's the same with the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. But not everybody on that team's a bad person. In fact, some of the people on that team that you hate so bad now might be on your team. You know, used to be on your team that you used to like. So sometimes you just get a bad rap, even though you might not necessarily be the guilty party. Sal, what's up, buddy?
Hey.
How's your Easter?
Very good, very good. Too much to eat.
What's on your mind today, buddy?
Hey, last week you were talking about, somebody was talking about Vietnam.
Right.
Okay? And I couldn't get in, but he said that these are Vietnamese women would put razor blades, you know where.
Right.
Okay? Well, I was just surprised about that. But then after the truce was signed in Korea, because I was in Korea there.
Okay.
And I was in headquarters, and we used to go out and try to hunt these prostitutes up,
Right.
And we'd find them and we'd check them out, and they had they put their money, the GI money, up in their where.
Yeah, in their private area. Wow.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I
When
never heard
that
that.
guy talked about that,
Right.
That brought me back to some memories.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was some, but get a razor blade, that was something else.
Well, what happened was a lot of the soldiers would rape their daughters, or they thought were going to rape them, so that's why they would do that.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy to think that? So
That was very crazy.
Yeah, so that's why the MPs would try to keep the soldiers away from them, because obviously they wouldn't want them to get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that's how it went. I mean, that's some of the stories I hear from, people that have been in wars and Vietnam, and probably is where I heard the most of the stories. Some of these stories are just, it takes you back, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
It's a realization.
That took me back, and because like I said, after the truce was signed, I was in headquarters, and
okay,
and we had to go out and find these prostitutes.
Wow. So you were in the Navy, right?
Huh?
You were in the Navy, right?
No, I was in the infantry.
In infantry. Okay. All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So wow. So what year was that? Whenever you were in?
1953.
Oh, okay. I wasn't even thought of at that point. Well, Sal, as always, thank you for your service. Though I know that's tough to have to leave your family and do something like that, and
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate though. I just got the end of that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because the truce was signed a little later when I got there.
Okay.
And I was tickled to death.
I'll bet.
The best thing ever happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky there,
Right. Yeah, you still did your time and had to be away from your family though, so that's
man,
tough.
I'll tell you what, there was a lot of things over there. 16 months.
Wow.
What we did, it was really something.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to see anybody go through it.
I hear you, buddy. My son-in-law's getting ready to go back, so not looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's in what's he in?
He's a cavalry scout in the Army, so he's the one that goes out and tells the troops, "Hey, they're hiding over here."
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah, so he's the very front line of the front lines, and he'll be going back to Afghanistan here in the fall.
Wow.
Yeah.
The difference between difference in this war and that war was we knew where the enemy was.
Right. Yep.
Today they don't know where the enemy is.
No, it's tough. We've heard stories, and I listened to some stories people told about kids coming up with candy, and wanting candy, and them planting bombs in kids and stuff, and that it sounds disgusting, but it's all truth, and it stinks. You just don't know who the enemy is when you're over in those countries anymore.
Right.
So, all right, buddy, I got to run for news.
Okay, Frank.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
All right, Sal, thanks for calling and sharing your story with us, buddy.
Bye-bye.
All right, have a great day. All right, coming up is news. Pat Septak will be around the corner at 11:05 here in Beaver County. Hour number 3 this morning. We're going to talk about a couple different things. One of them, President Trump, and the other one is we're going to talk about this woman at the fertility clinic where their eggs got destroyed in Ohio, filing a lawsuit. 1230 WBVP, Beaver Falls, Dougherty Township, and 1460 WMBA, Ambridge and Hopewell.
Townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump once again stressing the need to enforce America's immigration laws and strengthen border security. The president's focusing on that as a wave of Central American migrants makes its way north across Mexico, heading toward the U.S.
The president is threatening to pull out of the North American Free Trade Agreement, which he calls a cash cow, and cut foreign aid to Honduras and other countries who don't stop their citizens from entering the U.S. He also tweeted on Tuesday morning that the big caravan of people from Honduras, now coming across Mexico and heading to our weak laws border, had better be stopped before it gets there.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. It's another day out of the classroom for public school teachers in Oklahoma. The second day of a walkout over teacher pay and education funding. Some other states, Kentucky among them, seeing similar job actions in recent days. Large part of the country could be in for some nasty weather later on. National Weather Service lead forecaster Bob Oravec talking severe thunderstorms along a cold front that stretches from southeast Texas all the way up into north-central Ohio.
The thunderstorm activity that's expected to fire along the strong cold front will be moving pretty quickly, so it won't last very long, probably less than an hour, but there will be the potential for a brief period of very heavy rain, and along with the heavy rain, the potential for some severe weather.
And that severe weather could include strong winds, large hail, possibly even some tornadoes. All of that from late this afternoon into this evening. Automakers cheering the EPA's decision to ease emission standards for new cars and trucks. The industry says the Obama rules would have cost automakers billions while raising vehicle prices significantly. Stocks higher on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is up 223 points, the NASDAQ 51 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For a free quote, call 800-523-3771. That's 800-523-3771. 800-523-3771. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
A former FBI deputy director has amassed a big pot of money, a large legal defense fund.
More than $550,000 has been raised for Andrew McCabe on GoFundMe. The fund is now closed, having more than doubled its stated goal. On the site is a message purportedly from McCabe that he is stunned and extraordinarily grateful. It says, "If I'm going to continue taking a stand against the unfair way I've been treated, I will need the help of a talented and courageous team behind me." McCabe was fired just 2 days before he was set to retire. The FBI and Justice Department concluded he had not been candid during an Inspector General investigation. President Trump had been critical of the job McCabe was doing. Jackie Quinn, Washington.
Zimbabwe's president thanking his Chinese counterpart for Beijing's political support. He's pledging to strengthen ties with China. News and analysis at townhall.com. States that have legalized marijuana have fewer opioid prescriptions. That, according to a new study out this morning.
The study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association finds states with medical marijuana laws had a 5.8% lower rate of Medicaid-covered prescriptions for opioids. It also found states with existing medical marijuana laws that allow recreational use of the drug saw a drop in prescriptions for opioids by an additional 6.4%. Overprescribing of opioids is considered a major force behind the current opioid abuse epidemic.
Correspondent Linda Kenyon. Travelers at the world's busiest airport in Atlanta can once again use free Wi-Fi to go online following a cyber attack that hit the city last month. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport sent out a tweet saying that its free Wi-Fi is up and running once again. The message adds, "To all, thank you for your patience." More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's hard to keep track of all the health information that comes your way, but you still want to make the right decisions. Here's an easy one. Get tested for hepatitis C. It's a leading cause of liver cancer and often has no symptoms. People born from 1945 to 1965 are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. The good news is that now it can be cured. Talk with your doctor about getting a blood test for hepatitis C. Know for sure. A message from the CDC.
Beaver County's radio news source, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Here's Pat Septak.
And we're up a degree from last hour, currently at 43 degrees in Beaver County. And it's raining pretty good out there on this Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. The Beaver County weather forecast calling for periods of rain and more thunderstorms possible throughout the day and a high of 63 degrees. I'll have that complete Beaver County weather forecast for you coming up right after this look at news. A Center Township road project has been put on hold after the township receives a rejection letter from PennDOT. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano has the story.
Center Township received a rejection letter from PennDOT. It was announced at last night's meeting. A road project that won't be done until next spring in Center Township hit a snag when PennDOT sent the township a letter. Modifications for the multimodal grant will be sent to PennDOT. Ned Mitrovich, Township engineer, said that the state received 22 applications for the $5 million grant. U-Haul has to apply for a conditional use hearing before they proceed at the site of the former Macy's, which they purchased last year. Planning Director Frank Vecchio said, "We don't know what the uses will be." Solicitor Nicholas Urick was instructed to contact U-Haul in Pittsburgh. This is Sandy Giordano reporting for WBBP WMBA Beaver County.
Authorities say a Pittsburgh couple ran a brothel out of a residence where 3 young children live. Ingram police say 26-year-old Brittany Patrick and her 27-year-old boyfriend Lucas Trout both face child endangerment charges. Patrick is also charged with prostitution, while Trout also faces a conspiracy charge. A man hit by a car Sunday in Lawrence County is in the hospital with serious injuries. According to Union Township Police, the man was walking in the road when he was hit by a car. Police say the man was making his way home from work. The accident happened just after 11 p.m. on Route 224. Police say no one will be cited. And court officials say distracted driving citations in Pennsylvania jumped by 52% last year and have increased 172% since 2013. Nearly 7 in 10 citations were issued to men, and more than a third were to people in their 20s. A 2012 state law lets police pull over motorists they suspect of texting while driving. State law prohibits texting while driving, subjecting violators to a fine of $50. It is also illegal to drive while wearing headphones. Our newscast this hour is being brought to you by the Medicine Stop. We'll check the Beaver County weather forecast right after this.
Is it possible to have even more great news to share about the Medicine Stop? It is, especially if you have Highmark or UPMC insurance. I'm David Smatko from the Medicine Stop, and I'm pleased to announce that in 2018, we are a preferred provider for all Highmark and UPMC prescription plans, including all their Medicare Part D drug plans. This means that the Medicine Stop is now your go-to destination to receive the lowest copays, with many drugs costing as low as $0. No longer must you head to chain stores for the best deal on your prescriptions. Now you can come to the locally owned pharmacy where it's always been about you and your health. And if you're a customer who had to leave my store against your choice, then I'm happy to say, welcome back to the same great service and care that you remember. For everybody else, come see what the Medicine Stop difference is about. Welcome back to the Medicine Stop, 1529 7th Avenue in Beaver Falls. At the Medicine Stop, we keep you going.
Here's the Beaver County forecast from 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Periods of rain throughout the day today. Thunderstorms possible, a high of 63. Tonight, more thunderstorms likely, overnight low of 43. Wednesday, showers in the morning, then continued cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour and a high near 50. Currently it is 43 degrees in Beaver County.
Here's what's going on in your town. A look at the Community Bulletin Board on WBVP and WMBA.
And from the community calendar, the city of Beaver Falls is holding its lecture series April 11th, 7 p.m. at the Beaver Falls Library. Again, April 11th, Beaver Falls Lecture Series. The theme will be Learning from Our Past. Starts at 7 p.m. at the library. And that's a look at the news. Our next full report coming up at the bottom of the hour at 11:30. I'm Pat Septak for Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA News.
Well, Pat, you got to be happy.
Why?
Well, Pirates 4-0.
I am happy.
Not too many teams are still undefeated.
That's right, yeah.
Everybody's so criticizing of the Pirates, but yet first 4 games they've won.
Yeah.
A little bit rocky road. I think so far we've seen the bullpen is going to be suspect. We've seen some bad outings from Feliz, from Smoker, from Neverauskas,
right?
All the way down to Rivero. So
yeah.
I think the bullpen is going to be a little bit suspect. It's overall you got to be encouraged on where the Pirates are, and looks like early on in the year the Pirates are out to make liars of the fans
yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I know it's it's just the beginning of April, but still, hey, 4 wins in a row.
Well, so far, Mark Peterson's prediction is the only one that's right.
That's right. Yeah, we were all laughing at him when he made it.
Yeah, obviously they're not going to go.
No.
I think he added in. He did revise his prediction yesterday.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he went from 157 wins to 156. He said he thinks he missed a game that they're going to lose in August.
Okay. All right.
But seriously, I was very encouraged. Ivan Nova had a little bit of a tough start in Detroit.
Yeah.
And then from there, we've seen Chad Cole pitch. He looked very good. Jamison Tyon, he also looked very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you had Trevor Williams throwing, 6 innings of no-hit ball, 5 2/3 innings. I think he made it through the 6. Yeah, 6 innings of no-hit ball. So,
yeah.
So you can't beat that. You know what I mean? So far, so good.
Yeah, and Colin Moran, how about that grand slam, man? That was great.
I seen, really, for the first time, got a good look at Colin Moran on the news last night.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like a baseball player. He's got that big bushy beard.
Yeah, the red beard.
Yeah, he just looks like a baseball player.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, he just has that look about him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very tall.
And, so far I'm pleased with both him and Corey Dickerson.
Yeah.
And again, I'm from a different breed than everybody else. I'm glad that Cole and McCutcheon are longer here. They needed a fresh start somewhere else. I think that was wearing thin on them in Pittsburgh. So.
Yeah.
But I like where they're at after 4 games.
I do too. So, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this keeps up, and I don't know. We might have to put an end to the strike, but I don't see that happening. So anyway, all right, buddy. Well, we'll talk to you the bottom of the hour, and no game today. Thank God, because it'd probably been rained out.
Right.
It might be a close call even tomorrow for a rain out, but that wind in the afternoon will probably dry it up, and hopefully we'll get to play ball tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
All right, buddy.
Okay.
Talk to you about me.
Thanks, Frank.
All right. Good morning. You're on telephone.
Yes. I'd like to warn people again. I've been getting calls from senior benefits, senior care, and senior health. I just got another one this morning.
Okay.
And 2 yesterday. Most of these calls are fake. They lead back to bad numbers or recordings. Okay, that's one.
Okay.
Number 2 is another warning for somebody's been calling me about home security. The first one was led back to no numbers at all. No longer exist.
Right.
The other numbers I've been trying to get rid of. I keep telling them no. They keep calling me back. So if you hear that, hang up on them or try to tell them off nicely.
I'll give you a secret.
Okay?
All right. Do you have an answering machine?
Yes, I do.
Let it go to the answer machine. They'll quit calling.
Yeah.
But
That's what my cousin told me, too.
Well, here's what it is, okay? Most of those companies out there, they have what's called robocalls. And they have a way now that they can just pick up any phone number, even though that's not the number they're calling from. Just for instance, your sister or your brother, they could pick up their phone number and it looks like they're calling you, and it's not them, it's the robocall. So they say if you don't know the phone number, don't pick it up. Let it go to your answer machine, and they'll quit calling.
Well, the phone's going to be off the hook for the rest of the day, because 4 years ago I had to put my first cat to sleep, so it's going to be off the hook for the rest of the day.
All right.
So,
all right.
If they want to keep calling me, hey, they're going to get a buzzing sound.
There you go.
Disconnected.
There you go. All right. Thanks for warning
us. I'll let you have that warning.
All right. Thank you for warning us. We appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. And the other thing that that's been big lately, and, a lot of people have email, a lot of people don't. Be careful, because now what they're doing is they're saying that you have a package that's coming from USPS, which is United States Postal Service. And what will happen is they'll want you to hit this button and confirm, track your package. Well, here you go, then. They're going to infect your computer. What's going on over in New Brighton land today?
Not much, Mr. Frank. How you doing?
Good, Chucky. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, it's pouring down rain, and my son has a teacher coming in about 15 minutes.
Uh-oh, that ain't good.
So that's not a problem. I can deal with him with the teachers all day long. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyways, I'm gonna make this real quick. As far as that lady who just called about the scam calls.
Right.
Okay. Now I've gone to the police station about it because my son's mother, she gets them, I get them. Okay. And what the police department has told us is they go and buy these phones and use them until they're complete. All the minutes are going on them, and don't use them again.
Right.
So if you go call one of them back, it comes up as a inactive number. Is what ends up happening.
Well,
okay?
and the thing I can do, Chuck, too, is there's an app on phones right now that I can put this app in, and I can make it look like I was calling you from your own phone number.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. See, I don't have those options. I have a simple cell phone.
Right, and a lot of people can do that. To be honest with you,
exactly. What I did is this. Okay, every one of these numbers that I have received. Okay, and I probably have at least 16 of them. Okay, I have gone and programmed into my phone scam fire department, scam police department, scam credit card, scam life insurance. So they call back on that number. Or in particular, okay, if it's a 412-908 number, like the beginning of my phone, okay, I don't answer it because there's only one person I know that has a 908 phone number, and that's a member of my astronomy club. But they can keep that in mind. Don't answer anything that's 412-908. No doubt. Definitely there.
All right, buddy.
Anyways, hey, I got to get going because the teachers are due any minute.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you sharing that with us.
Hey, have a good day, Frank.
You too, Chucky. See you, buddy.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
If you're looking for a way to serve your community, look no further than Meals on Wheels. Many individuals live alone and can no longer leave their homes to purchase meals or groceries. They may also be elderly individuals that are the primary caregivers of a spouse or other family members and require help from support systems to manage their day. Meals on Wheels is one of those systems. Every meal is specifically designed for the nutritional needs of senior citizens. The price of one meal package is just $7.50, and clients may select to have 1 to 7 meal packages delivered per week. Meals are delivered directly to the senior's home between 10:30 a.m. and 12 noon on the designated delivery schedule. Volunteers are needed to deliver meals or work in the food preparation. So if you know of someone who could benefit from the Meals on Wheels program, or if you simply want to make a difference and do something good for seniors in your community, call Meals on Wheels at 724-378-8050. That's 724-378-8050.
Tune in at 1230 WBVP and 1460 WNBA this Thursday morning from 9:10 to 10 a.m. because it's time to Ask the Commissioners. Brought to you by Huntington Bank, the Brighton Health Mart Pharmacy, West Banco, NIRA Consulting Engineers, creating great futures by design. Visit NIRAengineers.com. Sandy Egley, Daniel Camp, and Tony Amadeo will be live in the WBVP WNBA studio to field your questions. That's right, just tune in this Thursday from 9:10 to 10 a.m. and call us 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888 and ask the Commissioners yourself on WBVP and WNBA.
Here at Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WNBA, we just love giving away prizes and making winners out of our listeners on a regular occurrence. If you'd like a complete list of the WBVP and WNBA prize contest rules, just visit beavercountyradio.com.
Be sure and follow the Pirates all season long, and do your part to root them on by listening to exciting game action on Beaver County Radio. Local coverage is presented in part by Town Square Restaurant, Suman Automotive, Roberts Roadside Inn, St. Barnabas Beaver Meadows, Albert's Heating and Cooling, Falcone's Moon Township Family of Dealerships, New Sheffield Cafe, Stone Creek Structures, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, and Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
The Reverend Gary Hilton and the Reverend Alan Brooks of Chippewa United Methodist Church would like to cordially invite you to come join their congregation in celebrating the life of Christ every Sunday morning from 11 to 11:30 a.m. on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. The Chippewa United Methodist Church is located at 2545 Darlington Road in Beaver Falls. So if you can't make it to the service, then listen every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA to the Reverend Gary Hilton and the Reverend Alan Brooks of Chippewa United Methodist Church.
Hi, I'm Pat Septak, News Director for Beaver County Radio, inviting you to tune in to Noonday, a daily full-hour news show featuring all the county, state, and national news of the day. I'll keep you updated on the weather. Plus, Matt Durzik has sports, and Diane Brocious has Out and About. Plus, we have 3 new features: One Moment in America, the Cal Thomas Commentary, and the Lou Dobbs Financial Report. It's Noonday, Monday through Friday from noon to 1, right here on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Alright, we're back. About 8 minutes away from news with Pat Septak. And today on the Yankee Trader, it is a bargain shop Tuesday. Listen to these great deals. A $20 gift certificate to the Crave Mexican Grill. Starting bid is just $10 on that. Hallowed Grounds Coffee, that's on 3rd Avenue, New Brighton. A $25 gift card. $13 is the starting bid on that. And then a $20 gift certificate to Which Flavor, which is located on 3rd Street in Beaver. The bidding starts at $10 on that. And then listen to this. Dinner for 2 at Texas Roadhouse. $30 value. $15 is your starting bid. All you have to do is call WBVP and WMBA during the bargain shop at 724-774-1888, 843-1888. And you could come away with the winning bid and win one of these great prizes on our bargain shop today. So make sure you stay tuned. 145, Diane Brocious back in the house after a few days off for the opening season of Pirates baseball, with the different games being earlier in the day. All right, one thing, and we're going to, because we don't have much time left today, so I don't want to divulge into one subject too much. But one of the things that's alarming to me that I saw is this report that came out of Aliquippa yesterday, where a man was arrested for allegedly assaulting an infant. And as the story goes, the gentleman got in a fight with the baby's mom, and somewhere within the argument, the alleged assault of the mother, the infant was knocked to the ground, and the infant was hurt. Now, this alarms me because, number one, a man, and you can criticize as much as you want, but a man or a woman should always keep their emotions in check when it comes to an argument. It should never, especially, and I'm sorry, I'm a little bit old school, so you'll have to forgive me if what I'm about to say sounds sexist, because it's not meant that way. But for a man to raise a hand to a woman is just wrong. It shouldn't happen. Woman shouldn't raise a hand to a man either. But you get my point. That shouldn't go on. Nonetheless, I don't care how, you see, that's the thing is, well, I don't care how mad a woman makes you. I don't care if, no matter what she does to you, at no time should there be physical violence involved, period. And then the fact that on top of it all, there's a child involved in this because the child was being held while the assault was going on. Shame on you. Whatever the courts do to you, you deserve. It's not right. And I don't think it's fair. And like I said, I'm a little bit old school, but it does go both ways. And I don't think, especially when a child's involved, there should be any type of confrontation. Sure, sometimes we get into little spats or something like that. That's a different story. But if you want to beat the tar out of each other, don't do it in front of a kid. Don't do it while somebody's holding the kid. Don't do it at all. If you're in that type of relationship or that type of an argument, you need to get up and walk away. And to me, and this is just me, personal opinion, again, you're not too much of a man if you can raise your hand to a woman. And I think it's wrong. And I think it's wrong of anybody that does it. Again, shame on you. You get what you deserve. And the problem is, the guy who raised his hand to the girl, or the girl that raised her hand back, didn't hurt nobody but the kid. Because the kids who saw this all go on, the kids is now who has to go through a bunch of different, whether it be psychological, because obviously now child services will become involved. These are the things that I'm talking about with some parents. When you put a kid on the face of this earth, that kid's supposed to be your priority. That kid depends on you for safety. That kid depends on you for love. That kid depends on you to teach them. And hurting your child inadvertently or not is not right. You shouldn't have been in that situation for that to happen. If you have anger issues, walk away. Go take a walk. But for that to occur is wrong. There should not be... we shouldn't read inadvertently a child was knocked out of the woman's hand while the physical altercation was going on. There shouldn't have been. And it's disgusting to me and upsetting. Because the child, in the end, like I said, is who is going to be the one, number one, that has to see this, that they shouldn't see. And number two, now, you have to go through the child services and everything has to do with child services. And then risk the chance that something could happen down the road with the court system. And now the child ends up in foster care. We don't like to see that. We don't want to see that. A child needs their parents. They need that love. They need that protection. They need that teaching. They need that bond. Because while it doesn't take necessarily the natural born person to be the mother or father, a child still bonds to somebody, and they have that special bond with them. It doesn't have to be a blood bond, but to put a child in that situation is wrong. You're welcome to weigh in after news at 724-774-1888 and 843-1888.
Beaver County's radio news source, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Here's Pat Septak.
And good morning. 43 degrees in Beaver County on this Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. The Beaver County weather forecast calling for periods of rain today, thunderstorms possible, and a high of 63 degrees. We begin our newscast with an update now on the Aliquippa man going to trial for assault. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano has the latest.
An Aliquippa man was arrested on March 25th by Aliquippa police after he assaulted a woman holding an infant in the city. Rudolph E. Davis faces charges of aggravated assault, endangering the welfare of a child, 2 counts of simple assault and harassment, and reckless endangerment, 2 counts. A pre-trial conference is May the 23rd, and that trial is set for September 4th in Beaver County Court. This is Sandy Giordano reporting for WBBP WMBA Beaver County.
Meanwhile, a Midland couple is facing a number of charges for allowing a juvenile to live in their home in horrible conditions. According to police, 62-year-old Robert McDowell and 52-year-old Anna Holben were charged with endangering the welfare of a child, corruption of minors, and simple assault. Police were called to the residence in connection with the couple fighting. When officers went inside the home, they found it in deplorable condition. Bond for both was set at $5,000. Women's rights attorney Gloria Allred has agreed to represent 3 women who lost eggs when an Ohio fertility clinic storage tank malfunctioned. Allred said at a news conference in Cleveland on Monday that her clients are cancer survivors who delayed chemotherapy to undergo fertility treatments at the clinic run by university hospitals. She says mistreatment of women is wrong anytime, but especially in such an intimate and personal part of life. The clinic said last week that an alarm system was turned off on a storage tank that malfunctioned in early March and ruined more than 4,000 eggs and embryos. Several lawsuits have been filed against university hospitals. Medicare is sending out new identification cards that no longer display enrollees' Social Security numbers. Andrea Sears explains in this report.
Pennsylvania residents will be among the first to receive the new cards that assign each person a randomly generated 11-digit number. Joanne Grossi, president of AARP Pennsylvania, points out that Social Security numbers are the keys for access to personal financial records, medical information, and legal documents. So if a card with a Social Security number on it was ever lost or stolen, the enrollee could easily fall victim to identity theft.
Every time you're giving over that personal Social Security number, it's an opportunity for either an individual or a hacker to use it for opening credit cards or getting a loan.
She says once the new card arrives, the old card should be destroyed. But if you're on a Medicare Advantage or a Part D prescription plan, those are separate, so be sure to keep those cards. I'm Andrea Sears reporting.
President Donald Trump is offering his support to the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, who is at the center of many ethics questions. 2 administration officials confirmed that the president called Scott Pruitt on Monday and told him that, "We've got your back." Trump urged Pruitt to keep his head up and said the White House supported him. The officials spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to publicly discuss private conversations. Many schools are closing for a second day in Oklahoma as teachers rally for higher pay and more education funding. Thousands of Oklahoma educators walked out of classrooms on Monday in the latest evidence of teacher rebellion in some Republican-led states. Teachers also protested Monday in Kentucky to voice dissatisfaction with a pension revision. And unlike Bill O'Reilly, Laura Ingraham will be returning to Fox News after her vacation, despite an exodus of advertisers turned off by the controversy surrounding her attack on Parkland school shooting survivor David Hogg. More than a dozen supporters, including Expedia, Nestle, and Hulu, pledged to pull their ads from the Ingraham Angle, after calls for a boycott, and many more are believed to be steering clear of that program. Fox News co-president Jack Abernethy tells the Los Angeles Times, quote, "We cannot and will not allow voices to be censored by agenda-driven intimidation efforts. We look forward to having Laura Ingraham back hosting her program next Monday when she returns from spring vacation with her children." O'Reilly, you may recall, had sponsors who deserted him before he was fired by Fox amid sexual harassment allegations. It's now 11:35, 12:30 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Here's the Beaver County forecast from 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Periods of rain throughout the day, thunderstorms possible, and a high of 63. Then tonight, more thunderstorms likely, overnight low of 43. And for Wednesday, showers in the morning, then continued cloudy and windy in the afternoon. Winds could occasionally gust over 50 miles per hour. A high on Wednesday near 50. Currently it is 43 degrees in Beaver County. And that is a look at the news. Our next full report coming up on the Noonday Report, which begins at 12:05. I'm Pat Septak for Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA News.
You know, sometimes I just wonder what's wrong with these people, some of them.
Yeah.
You know, well, I mean, first off, you've got this guy getting in a confrontation with his girlfriend, spouse, wife, whatever.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and then the kid gets hurt.
Yeah, I know.
Number one, you
Yeah.
should have put yourself in a situation.
That's right.
Then you've got a story about parents letting, or I guess, were they foster parents? Letting a kid a minor live in deplorable conditions.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, at what point does it click in your brain that the child's the number one priority here?
Yeah.
You know, if you want to argue with somebody, or, you know, if you're having that much of a problem with your house being deplorable, then maybe it's time to ask for help, because these kids are your number one concern.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and, you know, I'm all about kids. You know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me too. And you know, these parents they're 62 and 52 years old. So, I mean, old enough to know better. It's not like they're young parents, you know, 20-year-olds.
Right. Now, granted, though, Pat, some people do have a problem when it comes to hoarding and things like that. I'm just saying.
Yes.
So, you know, if you have that problem, that child should be your priority. Maybe there are people out there that help you. Maybe you need to seek some help. Something should click in your brain to tell you, I need help.
That's right.
Just like an alcoholic. I mean, eventually but again, it's the same thing. An alcoholic or a drug addict, you can't fix them unless they want fixed.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't
That's
know.
so true. Yeah. You're not going to get help unless you truly want it.
No, I have more of an issue. Granted, I have an issue with the deplorable conditions, but I have more of an issue with the shallowness of this gentleman to hit and getting a physical altercation with, you know, his partner, whatever you want to call it. You know, I don't know if it's boyfriend, wife, whatever, or girlfriend, wife, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have more of a problem with the fact of a physical altercation going on while there's a child involved, especially a child in somebody's hands, and then the child gets hurt out of it.
Yeah.
That's
Right away, an alarm should go off in your head. Hey, there's a child here. You know, I better back off.
Yeah, walk away. Go take a walk.
Yeah.
Go walk the dog. Do something. You know, and if you're in that bad of a relationship that's that volatile, get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, don't put yourself in that situation.
It's just, to me, and I'm not picking. I don't know. You know, I'm just reading the situation, and I'm responding to how I feel about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't know nobody involved in this situation, but that as a man, that's very shallow in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, that's wrong. But anyway, so Noonday Report's just around the corner.
Yep.
We've got a lot going on there today.
Yeah,
huh?
we sure do. Yeah, we have those stories you just mentioned. Also, there was a road project in Center Township that has been put on hold, looks like for a year.
I saw that.
After they got a rejection letter from PennDOT. So we're going to learn more details on that from Sandy. That's coming up. Also, you're talking about people making bad decisions. How about this Pittsburgh couple who was running a brothel out of a residence where 3 young children live?
Here we go.
Man. Goes to right what you were saying, you know. But we have that. We have a man hit by a car in Lawrence County. And then there's new statistics on distracted driving that should be alarming.
That's just disgustingly alarming.
Very disturbing there.
So,
all kind of stuff happening.
Yeah. Speaking of how simple things can be, or explanations things can be, in leading a sheltered life, a good sheltered life, I had to explain to my wife last night what a brothel was.
Really? Wow.
She goes, "What is that? I've never heard of that." I said, boy, you have had a sheltered life, have you not?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I felt bad. Once I explained it, she goes, oh, I didn't know it was called that.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
well, that's, you know.
You know, I say it's better not to know what one is than to run one out of your home where there's 3 kids living there.
My gosh.
I'll tell you
Sometimes you see these stories, and if you can get away with it, you just want to walk up like a cartoon and smack them on the head and say, what the heck's wrong with you?
Right. Yeah. What were you thinking?
Right. Yeah. Well, did any thoughts go through your brain before you started this?
Yeah.
So, anyways, and that's just the way. I mean, unfortunately, that's how things are sometimes.
Yep.
And you know, God, just it's frustrating. So, other things going on in the news, but I'm going to get into it tomorrow because we have open talk all day tomorrow. So,
sure,
we can get into it a little bit more tomorrow. These women that had cancer, and that when that fertility clinic when the eggs got ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something else there.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get into that tomorrow.
Okay.
Don't forget, just around the corner, which would be tomorrow. Well, what's tomorrow? See how good you are in history. What is tomorrow?
Well, let's see. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow's April 4th.
April 4th. Oh. Well, no.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking Cinco de Mayo, but that would be the 5th.
Nope.
April 4th?
Think about
Wednesday, April 4th.
Think about equal rights. Who fought for equal rights?
Martin Luther King?
What's April 4th? 1968.
Oh, the assassination?
Yes.
Oh, my. Oh, yeah.
So tomorrow will be 50 years ago that I almost, it's bone-chilling. When he walked the aisle, when he was walking with, it was garbage men from the union and fighting for equal rights.
Yeah.
Historic day.
I was at that hotel, by the way.
This is what you told me, so that's why I was wanted to ask you about that.
I tell you what, when I was there, I mean, my skin, goosebumps all over. I mean, I had chills being there. Literally, I really did. Just looking up because the hotel obviously isn't still running, but they kept the building is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually made it into a museum. So you can go in and you can look at the room, the exact room where he was staying before he walked out and was shot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's just the thought of it all, you know?
Yep.
There's a lot. I don't know if you saw on the AP reports. The Associated Press has been doing a series of reports. I don't want to call it, I guess, commemorating the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King. I was watching on TV last night, and I was on the CBS News, and they were showing a interview with his son and daughter, and his daughter was telling the story about when she was just a little girl, obviously, I think she said she was 7 when this happened. And they were showing video of her at her father's funeral. And just like every little kid, she said, knows their father's voice, she knew her father's voice. And she couldn't understand why she was laying there, why she couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It was laying her head on his casket, and she could not understand how she was hearing her father's voice at the funeral, but yet she wasn't able to see him. And she was at 7 years old, couldn't comprehend that.
Wow.
And she says that is the most memorable time of her father that she remembers of her father being assassinated.
Wow.
And then you go on to hear other stories, on the news report last night, and it's very bone-chilling.
Yeah.
Would Martin Luther King today be happy? I think he would be happy but he wouldn't be satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I'd agree with you on that. So obviously, there's been much improvement since the days that he fought for equal rights, and but there's still some way to go.
Well, and here's the thing: is while Martin Luther King is mostly remembered or celebrated as a man that fought for the rights of African Americans, Martin Luther King was a guy that fought for the rights of everyone.
Yeah, he did.
And that's what he did. I mean, it didn't matter. And that was the whole, to me, that was the whole synopsis of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, as well as a lot of his speeches. He just wanted equal rights for everybody.
That's right.
It didn't matter what creed you were, what color you were, where you came from. He didn't care.
Yeah.
And he just wanted equal rights for everybody. So, that being said, do you think in this day and age he would like where rights have come to? Not because we're not there yet, but we're a lot further along. And that's why I said I don't think he'd be satisfied. But I think that he would feel good about the progress that he helped make.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially knowing we had our first black president, and in other areas as well. I mean, sports. I mean,
well, in not only that, we've had, and I know I sometimes will criticize her, but we've had a lot of great black women that have come to the forefront, like Michelle Obama, number one. Right, yeah. But the one I criticize a lot is Oprah Winfrey. I mean, realistically, when it comes to TV reporting and doing reports and doing the things that Oprah can do, is there really anybody much better? I mean, honestly, I give her a props. Sometimes she says things that, I don't think should be said, but that's okay.
Yeah.
She's very good in what she does. I always watched the Oprah show, because she was so good. She had good guests. She was so good at what she did. And those are the types of things that I think Martin Luther King's looking down, smiling about.
Yeah.
The injustices that are still going on to this day at points in times, those were the things that he would be saying, not frowning about, but those are the things he'd be saying, that's where we still need to work.
Yeah, right. Right, absolutely.
So, but it's hard to believe that tomorrow will be 50 years since Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Yeah. Well, plenty to talk about on that tomorrow. Huh?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure. So, but we'll touch on all that tomorrow as well. So we got a lot going on.
Yeah. How about they're sending out Pennsylvania residents? I had the story at the bottom of the hour. Medicare, new ID cards. They're not going to have Social Security numbers on them, and Pennsylvania is going to be one of the states.
Wow. Can you believe that they're finally going to get it? I can't believe. You know what's more shocking about that story than anything, Pat?
That it took so long?
That the fact that there's still Social Security numbers on those cards.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. It's taken this long for them to, maybe we shouldn't put those numbers on there.
With all this identity theft. Yeah, okay. Right. Well, they just carry us somewhere. Here you go. Here you go, Mr. Thief. Yeah. You just want my stuff now? Here.
Yeah.
Here's my Social Security number. Here's everything that has to do with my life. Just take it.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're finally getting smart.
Somebody woke up. Huh?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Wow. That's what I did. When you read that story the first time, I went, wow. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So, but, all right, well, I'll let you go record your reports for noonday. Somebody wants to, it's not Wednesday, so it's Tuesday. So that's Sandy must have something hot off the press for you.
I guess.
All right, buddy.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Frank.
All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, that's Pat Septak. I'm Frank Sparks. And, yeah, so, there's a lot going on. That's amazing to me that they're just now giving a different number than the actual identification number on those cards. And thank God that Pennsylvania, you as Pennsylvanians, will be the first to receive that. Man, you would think in this time and age that would have been changed a long time ago. The other story Pat's been talking about this morning, and again, we're going to get into some things tomorrow. We have open talk the entire day tomorrow. So we're going to get into talking about the women that are filing suit for the loss of their eggs at the fertility clinic. Also, we're going to talk about Martin Luther King, obviously, being the 50th anniversary of his assassination tomorrow, I'm sorry. And then yesterday, President Trump found out some things he wasn't real happy about. We're going to talk about that as well tomorrow, having to do with his wall. But one of the things I saw that was in the news today that kind of, I don't want to say, it intrigued me. Let's put it that way. We've been hearing in the news that President Trump and Vladimir Putin are going to have a conference somewhere, somehow, some way. Just haven't had it all together yet, hopefully in May sometime. And President Trump had said that could possibly happen at the White House. The Russians say that they doubt that'll happen at the White House. Where would be a good place, would you think, for the two presidents to have a summit? In a neutral country? Might be the way to go. But I think neither